Chapter 98, Wang Dahai. It seems like the system still has a lot of functions that aren't unlocked and only would be when I've reached a certain level. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. Name, Wang Xian. Race, 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level, 6. Dragon energy, 563 for 21/100 Superpower, dominate the marine animals, ability to rule any marine animals that are lower than your own level. Devour any form of marine animals, for extraction of dragon energy. 5 elements control. Art of cultivation, divine dragon transformation. Level 1 Dragon Palace, not built, required materials, 0/100. Dragon Palace subordinates, turtle race, 1, clam race, 1, lobster race, 1. It has changed. My personal information has changed. There are additional line items of Dragon Palace and Dragon Palace subordinates. Divine dragons exist in this universe. However, I'm not just an ordinary divine dragon, but also possess a godlike divine dragon system. The cultivation of divine dragons couldn't extract divine energy by devouring marine animals. Instead, they have to cultivate diligently. As for me, due to the system, I could make use of the system to convert them directly into dragon energy. As compared to the divine dragon race, there's a huge difference. Similarly, I could build the strongest dragon palace directly through the system. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. Divine dragon system was relatively more unique. It couldn't make one become an unparalleled divine dragon directly, and required that he take one step at a time. The focus of Invincible divine dragon cultivation system was in cultivation. Only by going through each step could he become an invincible divine dragon. One should know that the strongest races of the universe weren't just the dragon race. However, he could make use of the system to become an invincible existence. But Wang Xian had a million thoughts running in his mind. In the end, he had a bitter look on his face and couldn't help but curse. Isn't the material required to build the dragon palace a little too much? Disregarding others, just 100 tons of gold would be an astronomical sum. 100 tons of gold would be 100 million grams. Taking the price of gold to be $330 per gram, he would need $33 billion. The $33 billion was even before he considered other materials. The total sum required to build a dragon palace would be astronomical. Wang Xian's expression darkened. He couldn't even take out 100 million currently, let alone $30 billion. Poor, I'm still too poor. Wang Xian pulled a long face and took a deep breath. This is forcing me to rule the world so as to look for the resources. Forget it. I might not need to rule the world, but I do need to earn some money. Once I have the money, the gold and other materials could be bought. It is just that spiritual stone wouldn't be easy to get. Spiritual stone was a condensed form of pure energy. However, he hadn't seen one previously. Therefore, it was most likely very valuable. Wang Xian shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He wanted to take this step by step, as it hadn't even been a month since he became a divine dragon. The money would come and so would the dragon palace. King! At this moment, the spiritual turtle disrupted Wang Xian's thoughts. Wang Xian looked at the spiritual turtle. The spiritual turtle was drastically different from when he first saw it. Its shell looked a little sturdier and wasn't like the ground beetle previously. It even looked rather majestic. Not bad, not bad. I'll call you Prime Minister Turtle in the future. Don't address me as King. Call me Dragon King. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle thanks Dragon King for the name. Sure, sure. Wang Xian looked at Prime Minister Turtle with satisfaction. Although its current appearance wasn't great, it was highly intelligent. A Prime Minister Turtle that doesn't know how to bootlick isn't a good Prime Minister Turtle. Why don't you head into the seas? Why do you choose to stay in this lake? Wang Xian asked peculiarly. It's more comfortable here and I won't be disturbed. Prime Minister Turtle answered honestly. All right. Wang Xian was a little speechless. Waving his arm, the Earth Dragon cultivation arts of the Divine Dragon transformation was imprinted in his mind. Cultivate diligently here. I'll make my move now. After finishing his words, Wang Xian headed out immediately. Time flew past quickly, and he had to return. He had a fruitful night. Not only did he manage to subdue a Prime Minister turtle, but he had also gotten an idea of the process of building his dragon palace. However, no one would have imagined that the sea monster of Jianghai Lake was actually a large and horrifying turtle that spanned over 10 meters. When he arrived at school from the seaside, it was already past 9 a.m. Just as he stepped into the dormitory room, a rough voice sounded. "What the? Old Wang, you are finally back. I called you so many times but you didn't pick up. Come, accompany me to buy some clothes today." Wang Xian lifted his head and immediately saw a fat head extending out of the bed. "Dahai, why are you so early? What a rare occasion." Wang Dahai had the same surname as him and was a year older than Wang Xian. He weighed around 190 kgs. He had all the strengths of a fatty, such as being honest, upright, and conservative on the outside but passionate on the inside. He was the closest friend Wang Xian had in the dormitory. Wang Dahai was a local of Rivertown. Typically, he wouldn't report to school before school started. It would seem that he had arrived the previous day and was acting a little strange. "I have something in mind, hee. Wang Dahai chuckled. Looking at his horny look, it must be related to a girl. "Old Wang, I'll get up right now. Accompany me to buy some clothes." Wang Dahai stood up as he spoke. Speaking of Wang Xian's nickname, Old Wang, there was a meaning behind it. The story was from the beginning of freshman year. At that time, there was a guy from the opposite dormitory block who liked a girl from their class. However, that girl was more interested in Wang Xian. After that guy confessed and got rejected, Wang Xian got another nickname, Old Wang, the neighbor, or in short, Old Wang. Almost everyone in the dormitory addressed him as such. "Buy clothes? I have to accompany my sister today. My sister has arrived." Wang Xian chuckled. "Your sister, Xiaoyu, has arrived?" Wang Dahai was a little surprised. "Why don't we ask your sister, Xiaoyu, along? Let me ask her about it." Wang Xian didn't reject the suggestion. Wang Dahai was a great guy and had been taking good care of him. He had treated Wang Xian to multiple meals and even lent Wang Xian his motorcycle over the summer holidays. After getting Wang Xian's call, Xiaoyu replied, "Brother, I'm going to take a look at the school clubs with Xiaomi, Yuan, and Su Qian. I guess I won't be going." Wang Xian nodded his hand. "All right, have fun. I'll accompany my roommate to get some stuff. Give me a moment to wash up." Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, Wang Dahai immediately jumped up and started washing up. "Where are we going to get clothes?" Wang Xian asked. "City center." "Why do you want to go to the city center to get clothes? Can't you just get them from the shops beside the school?" "Oh right, you haven't told me why you arrived at school so early." Wang Xian looked at Wang Dahai. Hee. Wang Dahai chuckled. He stuck his head out of the washroom and said, "Let me bring you to have some fun tonight." You got a date? Is she from our school?" Wang Xian asked in shock. "She's a senior." It was initially last night but she went out with her roommates for dinner. Therefore, it was postponed to tonight. "Old Wang, you are lucky. Damn, why does it feel like you've gotten more handsome since the last time I saw you a month ago? If only you were a little uglier. You would then be able to show how tall and mighty I am." Sigh. "It's okay, who asked me to be so kind?" She said she would be bringing her roommates along. Perhaps they might find you handsome and have a relationship that lasts for a single night with you. Chapter 99, Brother Xian, Brother Xian. As Wang Dahai nagged, Wang Xian gave a funny look. After bathing, Wang Dahai changed his clothes and made a few poses in front of the mirror. Not bad. Even though I'm slightly plump, my features are perfect, giving off a sense of security. Wang Dahai looked into the mirror as he was satisfied with his look. Will this work this time? Don't get disappointed again. Wang Xian looked at him and chuckled. Wang Dahai had an experience of dating a girl from the internet. In the end, the petite girl left after seeing him. There's hope this time. I'm sure. Wang Dahai's eyes brightened up. I met this girl before. So, I'm not afraid that she will run away after she sees me. Alright, let's go. Wang Xian laughed as he went down with Wang Dahai. Give me the keys. I'll drive you. Wang Dahai told Wang Xian. Your motorcycle was damaged by me. So, I bought another one. Wang Xian smiled and said. Damaged? Wang Dahai was stunned and shouted at him, if you've damaged it, just let it be. Why do you still have to buy another one? Look, you should have told me earlier. I have two at home. Why did you have to buy one? Wang Xian felt warm in his heart. Wang Dahai said these things because he knew about his family situation. Wang Dahai's family was SOSO and was considered to be middle class. They were not of high status, but neither were they poor. With a sum of $3,000 monthly allowance, it was considered an average amount. Let's go. I'll show you a new bike. Wang Xian arched his lips slightly as he brought him to the back of the dormitory. Wow, Harley. It's the Harley motorcycle. This is my dream heavy-duty motorcycle. I'll get one when I'm rich. Wang Dahai brightened his eyes as he stared at the Harley motorcycle with an envious look as soon as he was at the back. With a face full of smiles, Wang Xian took the keys and walked up. Do you want to try? Sigh, I can only look at it. This Harley costs at least a few $100,000. I wonder who the rich guy is who put it here. Envy. If tonight. Wang Dahai was talking with a face full of regrets. However, his face stiffened up as he spoke. He saw Wang Xian take out the key, unlock the bike, and push it out. Gosh! Old Wang. Brother Xian. This. Wang Dahai looked at Wang Xian with astonished expressions. What's the matter? Look at my dressing. Don't I deserve this bike? Wang Xian smiled and pointed to his clothes as he put on the flashy sunglasses kept in the motorcycle. Givenchy. Givenchy's clothes. It's authentic. Old Wang, did you win some lottery? Wang Dahai had just noticed the brand on Wang Xian's clothes. He jumped immediately, shocked. There is one thing that I have never told you. I'm actually an affluent second generation in disguise. I can inherit the family's assets now since I've turned 20. Wang Xian joked with a smiling face. Really? Didn't you have only one sister? Wang Dahai seemed to buy his words as he looked at him. Let's go. You just have to know that I'm not a pauper anymore. Wang Xian beckoned him and asked him to sit at the back seat. Gosh, this is so cool. Wang Dahai rubbed his palms together as he got excited. Can I try it too? You can ride around the school. But you can forget about riding it in the city center. You don't have a license. That's true. But you got to let me enjoy it during the normal days. Get lost, enjoy my ass. Brother Xian, you'll be the big brother from now on. I'm Xiao Hai. Wang Xian started the engine and rode to the city center with Wang Dahai. As soon as Wang Dahai entered the mall, he began to shop. The reserved Wang Dahai even bought a pair of golden rimless glasses. What a flashy look. Wang Xian looked at him speechlessly. Looks like you really took a fancy to the girl tonight. She's the true love of my life. Brother Xian, tonight is the night. Wang Dahai patted Wang Xian on his shoulder. It's still early now. Where are we going? Wang Xian looked at the time. Let's go back. I want to dress myself up, then recharge myself in an internet cafe. Wang Dahai was full of fighting spirit. Wang Xian followed Wang Dahai back to the dormitory helplessly. After they rested for a while, they came to the internet cafe. In the evening, Wang Dahai called the girl, but the girl asked him to wait. Wang Xian asked if the other party would stand him up tonight. Wang Dahai patted his chest and said she would never do that. In fact, the later they met, the better. Wang Xian could not figure out his train of thought. But when it was 8 p.m., the girl called him. Let's meet at the school entrance. Let's go. 8 p.m. Let's have fun tonight. Wang Dahai had shiny hair with exhilarating expressions all over his face. It's so late. Where are we going at such an hour? Asked Wang Xian speechlessly. The pub, of course. Wang Dahai raised his eyebrows. Let's go. We'll take the Harley motorcycle, and the remaining 3 ladies can take a cab. All right, let's go. As Wang Xian arrived at the entrance with Wang Dahai on the bike, the 3 trendy-looking girls were standing there. The 3 girls were all in miniskirts. One of them even wore a pair of black stockings. Temptations in the air. Rong, this is my roommate, Wang Xian. We're heading to the place on our bike. The 3 of you will share a cab. Is that okay? He spoke with a smile. As soon as Wang Dahai saw them, he hopped off the bike before he came to a girl whose face was round. Sure, then I'll see you at the pub. Sure, I'll get you a cab before we leave, said Wang Dahai with smiles all over his face as he acted like a gentleman. The other 2 girls next to them observed Wang Dahai before they turned and looked at Wang Xian, who was on the bike. It's here. 3 beautiful ladies, you may leave first. We'll wait for you at the entrance. As soon as the cab arrived, Wang Dahai spoke with a smile. Sure, we'll meet you at the pub entrance. The girl named Rong waved to him as she sat inside. Rong, is he Wang Dahai? He's fat. But his roommate is quite handsome. Yes, that's him. I turned him down yesterday. But he kept pestering me to hang out with him. Since we've got nothing going on today, let's go out and get high. Then let's enjoy ourselves today. I saw them riding the Harley motorcycle. They should be quite loaded. Let's have a feast today. I'm telling all of you in advance. Don't get yourselves drunk like the other day. No, we won't. That roommate of his is handsome. Do you want to seduce him later on? Damn you, I've got a boyfriend. The girls were laughing and chatting in the cab. Charge. My life happiness depends on today. Wang Dahai sat on the bike and yelled at Wang Xian excitedly. Fine, for your happiness. Charge. Chapter 100, Love Bar. Love Bar was a bar on a street of Rivertown that was relatively more well-known, relatively well-received and had a relatively better atmosphere. Wang Xian and Wang Dahai reached the entrance of the bar before the girls. Wang Dahai waited by the side anxiously. Why are you so excited? You look just like a bull that's in heat. Looking at Wang Dahai, Wang Xian found it hilarious. You wouldn't understand. This is true love. If you encounter the girl you really like, you would be the same as me. Rong is the cutest girl I've ever seen. I definitely want her to be my girlfriend. Wang Dahai spoke resolutely. Wang Xian was taken aback. This was still the first time he had seen Wang Dahai being so serious about chasing after a girl. He patted him on the shoulder and encouraged, all the best. She's here, she's here. Wang Dahai saw them walk out from a rented car and quickly went up to receive them. When Rong saw Wang Dahai, she spoke with a smile. Let's go. We can reserve a table for the 5 of us to chat and drink. Sure, let's go in. Wang Dahai nodded his head and the group of 5 walked towards the bar. Once they entered the bar, deafening music overwhelmed their ears. Wang Xian's eyebrows knitted together. This was the first time he'd visited a bar and wasn't used to such an atmosphere. Looking towards the dancing platform, he saw a group of young men and women fooling around. Some were even grinding on each other. Under the faint and shimmering lights, there was a sense of vileness filling the atmosphere. Wang Xian looked at Wang Dehai and noticed that he was also frowning. The three girls seemed to be familiar with the place as they walked towards a long table. Immediately, the waiter walked over. "Girls, which set meal would you like to have?" the waiter asked as he handed over a price list to the three girls. Rongrong took a look at the price list before ordering. The $1,888 set meal. Besides that, we want 2 bottles of Chivas Regal. Alright, please wait a moment. Wang Dehai and Wang Xian sat down. When he saw the prices on the price list, he frowned. Dehai, a $1,888 set meal with 2 bottles of Chivas Regal of $400. That's already more than $2,600. $2,600. Wang Dehai put aside the price list and whispered, "Old Wang, since I'm here, I've made preparations. If I don't spend this, how could I get the girl?" "Alright then, all the best." Wang Xian smiled and patted his shoulders. "Come, Rongrong. I had not expected your roommates to all be so beautiful." Wang Dehai quickly started flirting. As for Wang Xian, he simply sat quietly and observed. The waiter quickly brought over the alcohol, fruits, and nuts. Wang Xian took a bottle of alcohol and poured some for himself. After trying a mouthful, he put it down. Fake alcohol. "Handsome, are you from the same class as Wang Dehai?" Just as Wang Xian was feeling bored and looking around, a girl sat beside him. The girl had a good figure but her face was a little long. She gave off a vixen vibe and could be considered as good-looking overall. "Yeah." Wang Xian nodded his head before looking toward Wang Dehai. "Hey pretty, do you think Dehai has a chance with Rongrong?" The girl thought for a while before continuing, "I'll tell you if you finish 2 more cups." "Alright." Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders helplessly and gulped down 2 cups of alcohol. "I believe you can tell me now." "I don't know about it." "Ugh. If Wang Dehai works hard, he might have a chance." Wang Xian was speechless upon hearing her reply. It was equivalent to not saying anything. "Come handsome, let's have a toast." That girl leaned over and had half of her body on Wang Xian. At this moment, Wang Xian could even smell her perfume. Wang Xian frowned, "I'm not good with alcohol." "Just have a little." "Oh right, handsome. Do you have a girlfriend?" the girl asked directly. "Yeah." Wang Xian hesitated for a while. "I do." "Ha! You have a girlfriend? Do you mind changing one?" The girl looked at him with her pair of large eyes and even blinked flirtatiously at him. Looking at the girl, Wang Xian felt as though he was a weak little lamb. The other party had ample experiences with flirting. Although Wang Xian was being picked up by the girl, he wasn't feeling happy at all. The girl in front of him couldn't be compared with Guan Shuqing or Lan Qingyue at all. She was just like a prostitute to Wang Xian. Shameless and revealing. Wang Xian wasn't too interested in continuing chatting, and simply said a few perfunctory words in response. That girl saw how Wang Xian acted and started frowning. Contempt flashed in her eyes and she went back to her previous seat beside the other girl directly. At about 10 p.m., Wang Dehai said to Wang Xian, "Let's go to the bathroom, old Wang." "Sure." Wang Xian nodded his head and followed him to the bathroom. The girls behind them took a look at them but soon went back to playing among themselves. "How was it?" Entering the washroom, Wang Xian glanced at Wang Dehai and asked. Wang Dehai frowned. "Rongrong is pretty good, but doesn't feel like a student and was very open." Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and added, "Yeah." Wang Dehai didn't know how to describe it and simply nodded his head. For a female university student to be so open in such a place, it was clear that she was a frequent patron. This made Wang Dehai, who was a little chauvinistic, a little uncomfortable. "That's how I felt too." "Dehai, you've got to think about it." "I know. Let's see how it goes." It was very comfortable to chat with her, Wang Dahai replied after thinking for a moment. Wang Dahai took out a cigarette to smoke. After he was done, he signaled to Wang Xian to return. The two of them walked towards their seats. There were a lot more people at the bar than when they had arrived. This was natural, as the nightlife had just started after 10 p.m. Ha! To their surprise, they saw 4 other men when they were back at their seats. These 4 young men were sitting in their seats and chatting happily with the 3 girls. On the table, there were 5 bottles of imported wine and over 20 bottles of beer. Wang Xian and Wang Dahai exchanged gazes before finding another place to sit. Come Dahai, let me introduce them to you. This is Lingling's boyfriend and our friends. We happened to bump into them, so I asked them over. It's livelier with more people. Rongrong moved towards Wang Dahai and spoke to him with smiles. Rongrong, is this the handsome guy who is wooing you? He's not as handsome as me. A young man beside Rongrong took a glance at Wang Dahai and chuckled. You are handsome. Rongrong rolled her eyes at him. Am I not? The young man leaned over towards Rongrong. Scram! Get further away from me. Rongrong stretched over to whack him. Don't! Seeing the two of them flirting with each other, Wang Dahai's eyebrows twitched and wasn't looking well. Dahai, shall we go? Wang Xian saw everything. He moved towards Wang Dahai and spoke softly. All right. Wang Dahai took a deep breath and forced out a smile. He looked at Rongrong and said, Rongrong, I'm sorry. We just received a call and have something urgent to attend to. We will be going off now. Ha! Rongrong frowned upon hearing Wang Dahai. However, she immediately remarked, in that case, get the bill before you go. All right. Wang Dahai nodded his head unwillingly. He shouted to the waiter at the corner, Waiter, bill please. All right, sir. A waiter walked over. Your total bill. Wait a minute. Get us 2 more cartons of beer and 2 bottles of whiskey. At this moment, one of the young men interrupted. All right, sir. The waiter nodded his head. After recalculating, he continued, adding those that this Mr. ordered, your total bill is $9,380. What? $9,380? Wang Dahai was shocked and looked at the water in disbelief. Chapter 101, Fight. Yes, sir, $9,308. This is your receipt. You may check. The waiter nodded and passed him the receipt. Wang Dahai took the receipt with an embarrassed look. When they started to drink, the cover and a few drinks had cost just more than $2,000. Even after a second round of drinks ordered, he calculated that it would only add up to not more than $4,000. How did it end up at $9,308? But when he looked at the drinks that were ordered while they were away in the bathroom, Wang Dahai darkened his expression. 5 bottles of alcohol that cost more than $4,000. On top of that, those fruit and snack platters they ordered added up to the $9,308. The price was clearly stated, and the pub was not at fault. Wang Xian looked at the bill and darkened his expression. Wang Dahai did not have over $9,000 with him. His family was well off, but not to the extent of getting more than $10,000 for his monthly allowances. $9,000 was peanuts to Wang Xian. He could pay without batting his eyes. But, he was unhappy with what the 3 girls did. They probably treated Wang Dahai as someone who could be bullied by his generosity. It is right to treat and pay for the 3 of you. But your friends tagged along. What does that mean? Wang Xian looked at Wang Dahai, who was looking embarrassed. Wang Dahai was a person who did not want to shame himself. He could not bring himself to say something as he would rather not disgrace himself. More than $9,000. Wang Xian took over the bill and put it on the table. He told the waiter, when we were here, we only ordered drinks that cost about $2,600. We'll pay for that. We did not order the rest. The waiter looked at Wang Xian, so who will pay for the rest? You'll have to ask them that. We are only paying for what we drank. Wang Xian said nonchalantly. Her. 3 girls and 4 young men looked over at Wang Xian. What? You want us to pay? The girl who seduced Wang Xian just now frowned at them and asked. The drinks and fruits that we treated the 3 of you to will be paid for by us. The ones that you treated your friends to should be paid for by you guys. Wang Xian stared at the girl and said. What? What do you mean by this? Upon hearing what Wang Xian said, Rongrong stood up angrily and glared at Wang Dehai. Wang Dehai, what do you mean by this? You asked us out to the pub, and now you want us to pay for ourselves? On hearing Rongrong's question, Wang Dehai's expression was even more awful than before. He gritted his teeth, lifted his chin, and stared at Rongrong. I'll treat you to your drinks. But not your friends. Besides, you guys just ordered the drinks that amount to $9,000 while we were in the bathroom. Do you think I'm a fathead? Wang Dehai had finally seen the true colors of Rongrong, so he spoke without giving her any face. Fathead? Rongrong jeered at him. Hey, you were the one who asked us out. Now you think we've ordered too much, and you refuse to pay for it. Do you count yourself as a man? If you don't have that kind of money, don't woo any girls. $9,000 is considered expensive? Then why are you here? A girl next to Rongrong criticized with a sharp remark. That's right, you 2 paupers. If you had said that you're broke, we would not have come out with you. Now you refuse to foot the bill. Are you a man? How dare you ask people out when you're acting this way? Aren't you a joke? The 3 girls took turns to mock him as they looked at him disdainfully. Upon hearing their remarks, coldness flashed in Wang Xian's eyes. He looked at Wang Dehai, who was quivering, and took a step forward. We're buying drinks for the 3 of you. Not your friends. So? You need to bring your friends along to get the treats? Don't they have money? Hey, lad. What do you mean by this? Are you saying that we are so broke that we have to get free drinks from you? A young man rolled up his sleeves as he stood up. He stared coldly at Wang Xian when he heard what he said. If you have the money, how about paying for what you've ordered? Wang Xian stared at the young man and said emotionlessly, we'll pay for the beginning round of drinks. You can pay for the rest that you've ordered. I finally got it. Both of you are just too broke, and you guys are finding excuses to leave. If you are broke, why did you ask us out? How funny. Guys like you actually want to woo girls. What a dumbass. A girl scorned Wang Dehai and Wang Xian. Wang Dehai, I never expected you to be someone like this. Guys like you should be made known in the school forum. Let everyone witness what a pauper you are. You're broke, and you acted tough by asking us out? I bet you borrowed that motorcycle of yours from someone else. Rongrong said to Wang Dehai coldly. You, Wang Dehai stared at Rongrong, who was unkind with her words, with his eyes red. We were blind as we thought you were just ordinary students. Never did I expect that. Hee hee. Wang Xian scoffed and continued, we'll pay for the starting orders. Those that you added on, you'll pay for yourself. Waiter, we'll pay $3,000. The rest you can get from them. We didn't order that. The waiter frowned as he looked at the girls and the 4 young men. Hey, what do you mean by that? Rongrong pointed at Wang Xian and asked furiously. Am I not being obvious enough? Whoever ordered the drinks pays for them, Wang Xian said coldly. Pauper, you're penniless and yet you tried to woo a girl. You're a thrash, the young man said to Wang Xian in a cold tone. Ha ha. Wang Xian sneered, since you're not a thrash, you can pay for it. Damn you, I have the money. The young man took his wallet from his pocket and slammed it on the table. But I don't like what I see. I'll not pay for the bill. You guys are leaving without paying after you asked the girls out? I have the money too, but I'm not spending it on thrashes. Wang Xian put his foot on the table as he swept his gaze across the 3 girls. Eventually, he stopped at the young man and spoke coldly. Damn, are you seeking trouble? Fuck you. Didn't you find out who I am? I can beat the shit out of you guys. Fuck, you're arrogant. Let me tell you this. Today, you're paying it whether you like it or not. Otherwise, I'll make sure you guys can't walk out of the door. Two jerks are running away without paying after asking us out. Upon seeing the conceited look of Wang Xian, the young men and girls stood up and glared at him. One of the young men even removed his shirt, revealing his vest. The areas that the vest could not conceal were filled with tattoos. Fine. Wang Xian wet his dry lips. He picked up an unopened bottle of wine from the table and smashed it at the middle young man. Bam! Chapter 102, A Man Stopping 10,000 Men. Arg! A blood-curdling scream propagated throughout the bar and even overwhelmed the deafening music. Tragic, really tragic. The whole bottle of alcohol smashed into the head of a man, making him bleed profusely immediately. The other three young men and girls were stunned. They looked at their companion, whose head was bleeding profusely, in disbelief. Damn it! How dare you start the fight? That young man with tattoos behind his back looked viciously at Wang Xian and growled angrily. Start the fight? Wang Xian looked emotionlessly at this young man and grabbed another bottle of beer from the table. He did not make use of his great strength and did not bother to talk to them. This was because this group of people wouldn't require him to use his full strength. Moreover, he did not like to talk while fighting. Scumbags! You guys are too much. Seeing that Wang Xian had started the fight, Wang Dahai, who was standing behind Wang Xian, was initially hesitant. He clenched his fist tightly before grabbing another bottle of beer. His brother had already started the fight for his sake. How could he possibly just stand there and watch? What kind of brother would he be if he just stood by? The other few young men found it hard to accept, as they had never expected these two young men to start the fight the moment they couldn't agree on things. Furthermore, they were so ruthless. The moment Wang Xian saw Wang Dahai readying himself, he revealed a smile. That's how a brother should be. They should fight together, carry guns together, sleep together and visit prostitutes together. Fuck. Bastards. Don't think I'm afraid of you. The other three young men were looking hideous and immediately charged towards Wang Dahai and Wang Xian. However, there was no way their power and strength could be compared with Wang Xian. Bam bam. The two bottles of beer landed on two other people. As for Wang Dahai, he was 1.8 meters tall and weighed over 190 kgs. Most people wouldn't be a match for him. Therefore, the three young men were put to the ground easily. They must be eager to die. How dare they touch us? A young man held onto his head and looked menacing. You guys. How dare you guys cause trouble here? Rongrong shrieked and pointed to Wang Xian and Wang Dahai. Her face had turned as white as a sheet. Grr, fight, don't stop. Can't even defeat two when there are four of you. Trash. Get up and fight. The crowd in the bar noticed the fight and started cheering loudly. They were here for fun and it was better for them when the bar was livelier. Weak and fragile. Wang Xian looked coldly at the four young men struggling to get up. He grabbed another bottle and taunted, "Come, let's continue." How dare you? You're going to die. The tattooed young man, whose head was covered in blood, stared at Wang Xian. He was seething with anger. If you can walk out of Love Bar tonight, I wouldn't be able to show myself here in the future. What's the matter? Who's fighting? Who's fighting? Get out if you want to fight. At this moment, 5 to 6 security guards of the bar rushed over and shouted loudly. Fuck. Wait here if you dare. Although the tattooed young men saw the security guards rushing over, he showed no fear and roared loudly. What's the matter? Still want to fight? When the middle-aged security guard heard him, he frowned and walked over. If I don't cripple these two brats, my name wouldn't be Fifth Master Gong. The young man with the tattoo took his phone, ignored the security guard and dialed a number. The group of security guards frowned as they turned their attention to this young man with tattoos. "Boss, it's me, Fifth Master Gong." One of the security guards was shocked and murmured to the middle-aged man beside him. "Fifth Master Gong, if you are causing trouble, please get out. Don't do it in the love bar," the middle-aged security said to the young man with tattoos. "I'll leave after crippling these two brats. They dare to touch me. I'll kill them." Fifth Master Gong's face sank and he roared loudly. "Wang Xian. What should we do now?" Wang Dahai could sense the savage vibes from Fifth Master Gong. He wasn't even afraid of the security guards. At this moment, Wang Dahai felt a little flustered. The reason why he joined the fight was also because he was in the heat of the moment. However, the other party was clearly calling for reinforcements and had threatened to cripple them. This made him a little scared. What should we do? It's obvious to continue whacking them before their reinforcement arrives. We couldn't be waiting for them to be here to beat us up, right? Wang Xian smiled at Wang Dahai. To Wang Dahai's astonishment, Wang Xian charged towards Fifth Master Gong directly. Everyone was shocked. They had not seen anyone who fought in such a manner. Under normal circumstances, when the other parties were all put to the ground and were calling for reinforcements, the one who started the fight would typically run or just wait. However, this young man started the fight once again. When Wang Xian charged over, he saw that Fifth Master Gong was filled with shock and disbelief. He smiled at him. "Aren't you calling people over? In that case, I shall see if I can kill you before your guys arrive." The moment he finished his sentence, he smashed the bottle in his hand on Fifth Master Gong's arm. "Arg!" Fifth Master Gong let out a horrifying shriek. His arm had already been deformed. His face was filled with horror. He isn't playing by the rules. Continue. Wang Xian smiled again at Fifth Master Gong. Under his horrified gaze, he smashed towards the other arm. Bam! Crack crack. The sound of bottles and bones cracking propagated once again. The crowd was all shocked by the development. That young man really wants to kill Fifth Master Gong. The expressions on the other three injured young men were as white as sheets as they looked towards Wang Xian. As for the other three girls, they were lost and flustered. They cuddled together and were filled with fear as they looked at Wang Xian. "Your guys are a little slow." Wang Xian smiled sarcastically as he spoke to Fifth Master Gong and grabbed another bottle. "No. No. No. Please." Fifth Master Gong was completely petrified. He was truly afraid this time. Who the fuck dared to touch my brother? At this moment, an angry growl sounded. Fifth Master Gong was thrilled and stared at Wang Xian menacingly. "You are finished. You are finished." Huh. Over 10 people rushed over. Everyone in the group was burly, and a middle-aged man in front of the group looked coldly over. Bam! Wang Xian still smashed the bottle over as the shriek of pain sounded once again. "Fuck, you dare to continue." The group that charged over saw Wang Xian smashing the bottle down and heard the wail of Fifth Master Gong. Among them, one burly young man dashed towards Wang Xian directly. Bam! With a simple sweeping kick, the young man that was dashing over was sent flying back and landed heavily on the sofa by the side. Instantly, everyone was stunned. Expert. This young man isn't simple. No wonder he wasn't afraid of anything. Wang Xian looked emotionlessly at them before revealing a faint smile. "Just a dozen people? I'm afraid this might not be enough." The group that arrived with momentum frowned when they saw how calm Wang Xian was. This young man had just sent one of them flying away with a single kick. Moreover, the man that was sent flying didn't get up after the kick. It was clear that the young man was strong. The bar quietened down suddenly as everyone looked to the young man standing in the middle. He had the vibes of being able to stop 10,000 men. Chapter 103, Is it over? Get Brother Panther here. The middle-aged man who was standing in the middle told a young man. A dozen people did not make a move against Wang Xian. Lad, there are not many fearless people like you. Aren't you afraid of death? The middle-aged man threw a glance at the dreadful fifth Master Gong before he spoke to Wang Xian while staring at him. Ha, just a few of you. Wang Xian sneered at them. The middle-aged man raised his eyebrows as he looked at the young man in front of him with bewilderment. Fearless and composed, disregarding all of them. An ordinary young man could not possibly possess such a demeanor. The middle-aged man, unlike fifth Master Gong, knew how to think. The young man in front of him must have some backings. However, he took out a cigarette casually and lit it. Lad, arrogant people will not have good endings. Once Brother Panther arrived, this lad would have to pay the price regardless of how formidable he was. On the other hand, a young man trotted to a private room along with a security guard of the pub. Brother Panther, someone beat our buddies up. As soon as the door was opened, that young man quickly reported to the middle-aged man inside. What? There were about 6 people in the room. The one who was known as Brother Panther was rather muscular. He was slightly stunned before he stood up. Where are they? Brother Panther calmly asked. They are in the pub now. Fifth Master Gong fought with 2 young men, and he got beaten up badly, the young man replied at once. Oh? In my pub? A young man sitting in the middle lifted his chin puzzledly. With a smile, he said, interesting. Let's check it out. Brother Panther, second master, the one who beat fifth Master Gong was a juvenile. He is formidable. He can send a person flying with just a kick, said the young man at the side. Regardless of how formidable he is, I'll not let him off for beating up my buddy. Brother Panther said coldly. He turned to the young man at the side, second master, sorry to cause you trouble over here. It's all right. The young man gestured as he did not seem to be bothered by it. Looked like he was in a good mood today. Fine, I want to see who dares to lay his finger on my buddy. Seeing that second master was not mindful, cold radiance flashed in Brother Panther's eyes as he looked at the place where people were gathering. He bellowed, how dare he beat up my people? Let me see how formidable he is. The surrounding people were shocked as they quickly turned around and looked at the source of the voice. It's Brother Panther, Brother Panther. It's really Brother Panther. I guess that juvenile is doomed. Some people exchanged whispers in fear when they saw Brother Panther walking over. As Wang Dahai listened to the whispers around him, he displayed an anxious look on his face as he clenched his fists tightly. Wang Xian watched the approaching people emotionlessly. But he raised his eyebrow when he spotted someone. The second master who was next to Brother Panther froze as the smile on his face slowly disappeared. Were you the one who hit my buddy? Brother Panther glared at Wang Xian coldly as he pointed his finger at him. Brother Panther, it was him. Brother Panther, you must avenge me. Fifth Master Gong, who was lying in a pool of blood, said with a hideous face. However, the second master who was standing beside Brother Panther quickly trotted towards Wang Xian while they were exchanging conversations. Young Master Wang, I did not expect to see you here. This is my fault. The second master ran over and greeted him with fear. He was gritting his teeth. Damn, this bunch of useless things. He called some friends here for a celebration as he managed to pull some strings with Wang Xian. Never did he expect that he would encounter such a thing. He swept his gaze across fifth Master Gong, who was lying on the floor, with a strong desire to destroy him for good. It's nothing. I just fought with some of them. I'll leave this in your hands. My friend and I will go back now. Let's meet for lunch someday, said Wang Xian to the young man before him, who was the director's son he'd met yesterday. Wang Xian peered at Wang Dahai, who was looking worried and gloomy. Yes, young Master Wang. Leave this to me, and I'll make sure you're happy with the outcome. Director's son nodded hastily in assurance. Okay. Wang Xian nodded. He walked to Wang Dahai and said, Let's go, Dahai. Wang Dahai was stunned as he followed Wang Xian outside in bewilderment. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Brother Panther was dumbfounded too when he saw the second master running to the juvenile and speaking to him respectfully. Eventually, he witnessed the departure of the juvenile. He had a mixed expression when he saw the juvenile walking past him. But he remained silent as second master walked towards him. Second master, Brother Panther pointed shockingly at the juvenile who left. Director's son took out a cigarette slowly. Panther, don't you know how to manage your subordinates? Brother Panther froze as he panicked while looking at Director Sunday. Second master, what have I done wrong? Please, let me know. Break their limbs and make sure they disappear from Rivertown. Teach these 3 girls a lesson too, Director's son said slowly. What Director's son said shocked everyone around him. What's going on? Why did the second master give such instructions? That juvenile? I know you have a lot of questions in your head. What's the reason for the celebration tonight? Director's son looked at Brother Panther and asked him passively. Because you befriended such a formidable expert. As Brother Panther spoke, his eyes were agape. Second master, could that juvenile be? Director's son nodded his head slowly. I wish I could save some face for you. But it was your men who courted their own death. Brother Panther was appalled as trepidation filled his eyes. Today, second master's son had invited them out to have some drinks. Obviously, he was in a chirpy mood. Hence, they were puzzled and asked him about it. In the end, the second master told them proudly that he had befriended a formidable person who was one of the supreme people in the entire Rivertown. His remark shocked them. They would look up to anyone who was favored by the second master. On top of that, the second master made another remark which startled them the most. He was someone who could make old Qin bow and apologize. They were unable to stay composed after hearing these words. That person is old Qin. The second master could enjoy his current status because he worked for the Qin family. I know what to do. Brother Panther took a deep breath and stared coldly at the fifth master Gong. Fifth master Gong, you're gonna get us killed. Break their limbs. A resentful bellow shocked the rest of the bar. What's the situation now? Fifth master Gong and his bunch of friends, including the 3 girls, stared at Brother Panther with disbelief and despair. Is it over? Asked Wang Dahai, who was following behind Wang Xian as he looked over his shoulder dumbfoundedly. Yes, it's over. What else do you want? All of a sudden, Wang Dahai hugged Wang Xian and cried. Sob sob, old Wang, I'm out of love. Out of love. I never thought that Rongrong was such a person. Chapter 104, Military Training. Wang Dahai had just gotten dumped. Using his own words, it was being dumped before getting into a relationship. Rongrong was the girl he'd liked the most since he was born. However, the shame was that her character was poor. Nonetheless, this didn't stop Wang Dahai from feeling like he got dumped. He dragged Wang Xian along to drink for the entire night in memory of his failed relationship. They drank from the wee hours of the day until dawn broke, and Wang Xian accompanied him for the entire night. When he woke up, it was already 4 in the afternoon. Dahai, Dahai. Wang Xian tried to wake Wang Dahai. No. Shit, it's already 4 p.m. I still have to report to class at night. Wang Dahai exclaimed and quickly sat up. My head is aching from the drinking. Let's get up and go get dinner. Let's go, I'll treat you to something good. First-grade restaurant. Wang Dahai's eyes lit up. They'd had a long conversation the previous night and Wang Xian told him about the fact that he was the boss of first-grade restaurant. Brother Xian. Let's go and have something good to relieve my sorrows of being dumped. Wang Dahai jumped up immediately. From his excited looks, he didn't look like he just got dumped. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. He changed into another set of clothes before giving Xiao Yu a call. I've also called my sister and her roommates. Oh right, where's Zhang Wen and Zhang Feng? Zhang Wen and Zhang Feng were the other two people in the same dormitory. In his dormitory, Wang Dehai and Wang Xian were closer to each other. Zhang Wen and Zhang Feng were closer to each other. Nonetheless, the four of them had a cordial relationship. I don't know. They must be with their girlfriends. Wang Xian nodded his head but still called them to verify. However, they were accompanying their girlfriends and couldn't come. Wang Xian didn't press further and headed towards the girls' dormitory with Wang Dehai. Brother. Xiao Yu, Yuan, and Su Qian walked over. Xiao Yu walked to his side joyously and held on to his arm. Before we go get dinner, let me introduce him. He is my brother, Wang Dehai. Wang Xian explained to the group of girls. After which, he introduced the girls to Wang Dehai. Hello, pretty. Wang Dehai chuckled. However, his attention fell on Su Qian and remained there for some time. Let's go for dinner. Wang Xian laughed. Xiao Yu, are you guys starting on military training tomorrow? Yeah, 20 days of military training. That's horrible. Xiao Yu pouted and said grumpily. After the military training, we probably will tan too. The group chuckled and arrived at first grade restaurant. First grade restaurant had returned to normal operations by today. However, it was still filled with customers and the popularity of first grade restaurant hadn't subsided on the internet. Currently, the net profit of first grade restaurant could reach approximately $1 million a day. It could be considered very high. However, when he recalled the materials he needed to build the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian could feel his head starting to ache. During dinner, Wang Xian called Guan Shuqing over too. This made Wang Dehai a little dumbfounded as he gave a thumbs up to Wang Xian. After the group finished their dinner, they headed back towards the school. The school was starting officially today. Wang Xian and Guan Shuqing were chatting happily. After not seeing each other for 2 days, they had a lot to talk about. As for Wang Dehai, he got closer to Su Qian and was trying to impart onto her his experiences at the University of Rivertown. After parting with the girls, Wang Dehai looked at the back view of Su Qian and suddenly blurted out, "Haze, old Wang, I feel that I'm in love again." Wang Xian was drinking from a bottle. When he heard what Wang Dehai said, he almost spit it out. Brother, you are in love again? Wang Xian looked at him in astonishment. I'm serious about it this time. Did you notice how cute Su Qian is? It's especially so for her plump face. Old Wang, my spring is coming again. I've made up my mind. I'm going to woo her. Wang Dehai spoke passionately. However, when he saw Wang Xian simply walking towards the classroom, he quickly asked, Hey. Old Wang, do you think I stand a chance? Yes, you do. Wang Xian replied helplessly. That will do. I've decided to bring water to Su Qian during her military training period and show her warmth. Wang Xian was speechless. When the two of them arrived in the class, most of the students were already there. Wang Xian specialized in international economics and trade. Therefore, the guys far exceeded the number of girls. Moreover, beautiful girls were few and far between. The prettiest of them all was Su Meier. However, she was very flirtatious and many did not have a good impression of her. When he stepped into the room, Wang Xian immediately felt gazes upon him. Turning around, he saw Su Meier shifting away her gaze in a hurry. In her eyes, there was fear. Wang Xian smiled and found 2 seats for him and Wang Dehai. Soon, the school counselor walked in. The school counselor was a young man. After taking attendance, going through the questions they did for examination last year, and reminding the students to study diligently, he left. The second year was much easier than the first year. There weren't many miscellaneous matters to attend to and they had more free time. After 2 lessons in the morning the second day, Wang Dehai rushed to Wang Xian. Let's go, old Wang. Have you found out what I've asked you about? Didn't you add her on WeChat? Can't you ask her yourself? Wang Xian looked at him, feeling speechless. You don't understand. I couldn't make it so obvious. It would be horrible if she thinks that I am the same as those casual guys. Quick, quick. Wang Dehai was pressing him and Wang Xian had no choice but to walk ahead helplessly. Let's go. I'll bring you over. Seeing Wang Dehai regaining the vitality of spring, Wang Xian was still very happy about it. At the very least, Wang Dehai wasn't severely affected by being dumped. The sun was vicious today and this was something that the Year 1 students wouldn't like to see. As the intense sunlight shone down, this group of spoiled students all felt miserable. Wang Xian brought Wang Dehai to a spot in the field, found a place and sat down. This is where my sister and her classmates are having their military training. Su Qian is also here. Let us wait a while. When it's their break time, we will go bring them some water. Wang Dehai chuckled as he looked around fervently, trying to spot Su Qian. Wang Xian looked across and noticed that, after the girls put on the military cap, it wasn't easy for him to see the girls' looks. Therefore, he took out his mobile phone to play. Perhaps the students just had their break. Therefore, the tutors didn't give them a break despite Wang Xian and Wang Dehai waiting for half an hour. Under the intense sun, one could see that every student's face was turning a little red. Wang Dehai was a little plump and didn't take the heat well. He wiped off the perspiration on his forehead. It's so hot today. Luckily, there was rain for a few days during our military training last year. Only by going through trials and tribulations can you get your girl. Wang Xian looked at him and chuckled. Oh no! Someone has fainted. At this moment, a scream sounded from the side. Wang Xian and Wang Dehai immediately looked over and saw a student lying on the ground. The military officer immediately carried her up and ran towards Wang Xian and Wang Dehai's location where there was more shade. Chapter 105, Sacred Followers Guild. Get out of the way. Can those two students give up their seats? The instructor yelled at Wang Xian and Wang Dehai as he carried the student over. She must have fainted from the heatstroke. Wang Dehai was shocked as he stood up hastily and gave up his seat. Wang Xian also stood up when he saw the instructor lay the girl down on the ground. At this time, two doctors ran over. Apart from the school doctors, the regular hospital doctors were present during the military training at the University of Rivertown to prevent any accidents. Two doctors, a middle-aged man and a 27 to 28-year-old female doctor, sprinted over. Dr. Sun, let me take a look first. She must be suffering from heatstroke, said the middle-aged school doctor to Dr. Sun as he carried his medical equipment. Sure, Dr. Song, you can examine her first. Dr. Sun nodded. At this time, Wang Xian felt Wang Dehai tugging his arm. He peered over with doubt. Wang Dehai was pouting his lips in a direction. Wang Xian looked over. That doctor was about 28 years old. She wore a white gown that couldn't hide her bosomy figure. Her white gown was pushed up at the chest area. She had a fair and refined profile. With bun-up hair, she looked just like a goddess. Wang Xian was in a stupor for a moment as he found her familiar. He then recalled the same Dr. Sun at the previous accident the other time. Her body feels hot, it doesn't seem like she got heatstroke. The anxious voice of the middle-aged school doctor was heard, give her some cold water before we apply some medicine on her. She's not having a heatstroke. Didn't the students have their checkup in advance? Check her heartbeat to see if there are any problems. Dr. Sun continued, let me do it since it's more appropriate. Sure. The middle-aged school doctor agreed immediately while Dr. Sun took over. Dr. Sun took out her stethoscope immediately and placed it at the girl's chest area. Gosh, her heart is beating very slowly. Dr. Sun's expression had a drastic change. She flipped the eyelid of the girl, her eyes are red. This is not a heat stroke. Her breathing is weak. We must send her to the hospital immediately, said the middle-aged school doctor as he placed his finger on the girl's nose. What's going on? Is she all right? Just then, two school in-charges rushed over and consulted. It's not a heat stroke. It should be some other illness. We need to get her to the hospital now for an examination, the middle-aged school doctor replied immediately. How serious? The two school teachers frowned. Hurry, get the car now. We're sending her to the hospital before it's too late. Upon seeing the motionless girl, Dr. Sun spoke anxiously. Okay, I'll get the car now, said the two school teachers who were panicked too. The impact would be huge if students had any accidents during military training in school. Let me take a look. At this time, Wang Xian spoke when he saw the frail-looking girl. Upon hearing Wang Xian, everyone turned to look at him. Don't you fool around, said the middle-aged school doctor impatiently as he realized how young and inexperienced Wang Xian was. Wait, Dr. Sun looked at Wang Xian as she observed him carefully with a pair of refined eyes. You were the one in that accident. Yes, let me take a look. Wang Xian nodded and said to Dr. Sunday. Okay, go ahead. Radiance flickered in the eyes of Dr. Sun as she stared at Wang Xian with curiosity. Previously, they did a detailed examination of the young men and the young lady from the car accident back in the hospital. What shocked all of them in the hospital was that the broken leg of the young girl had miraculously healed by itself. On the other hand, the young man's injuries were even more severe as his ribs were fractured. Yet, the bones had been fixed in some unique way. It was shocking to all the doctors. Such a situation could be considered a miracle in the medical field. When Dr. Sun learned about the report, the first thing she thought of was that juvenile. She did not expect to meet him here. The middle-aged school doctor and the two school teachers were slightly stunned by what Dr. Sun had said. But they did not stop him. I'll do it. However, a juvenile in his military uniform walked out suddenly just when Wang Xian stood up. The juvenile was 1.8 meters tall, looking cheerful and handsome. His confident vibe was even more intense when he was in a military training outfit. Out of my way. Let me do it. The juvenile looked at Wang Xian and spoke immediately while he fished out an ID from his right pocket. This is... The middle-aged school doctor opened his eyes wide with a shocked expression. He exclaimed, Sacred Followers Guild, medical saint. I'm not a medical saint yet. I'm just an apprentice. The juvenile gave a faint smile as he held his chin high when he heard the exclamation from the middle-aged school doctor. Confident, handsome, imposing. Unexpected. Unexpected. The middle-aged school doctor was overwhelmed with surprise. Little miracle doctor, come and take a look. Sacred Followers Guild. Dr. Sun was also taken aback as she gazed at the juvenile. Sacred Followers Guild was one of the two sacred places in the medical industry. Almost everyone in the medical industry knew about Sacred Followers Guild. At the same time, all the medical students were hoping to have a chance to learn in the sacred place. However, only very few doctors managed to pass the test. Any apprentices who walked out from the Sacred Followers Guild were equipped with formidable medical skills. The middle-aged school doctor spoke respectfully to the juvenile, and the juvenile was enjoying such treatment. He wriggled his finger, and the silver needles appeared in his hand. Awesome! The middle-aged school doctor was amazed by the appearance of the silver needles. Excuse me. The juvenile pushed Wang Xian away and squatted down immediately. Little miracle doctor, please take a look at this student to see what's wrong with her, said the two school teachers respectfully. Apparently, they had heard of the reputation of the Sacred Followers Guild. Okay, don't worry. If it's not something serious, I can cure her with a silver needle. The juvenile drew his lips and spoke confidently. That'll do. The two teachers heaved a sigh of relief as they smiled. Then they looked at Wang Xian and Wang Dehai who were gathering around them. Two of you, please give way. Don't interrupt the little miracle doctor while he is treating. Sacred Followers Guild. Wang Xian took 2 steps back as he gazed at the juvenile with surprise. He had heard old Shui mentioning the Sacred Followers Guild. They were like the ultimate existence in the entire medical industry. The members of Sacred Followers Guild came from a mix of the underworld and society. Some of them were commoners while some were martial artists. However, the majority of them were mainly martial artists since they would circulate their internal energy during their treatment. The juvenile placed his hand on the young girl's hand and closed his eyes. Her. The juvenile knit his eyebrows slightly. What is it, little miracle doctor? Is her illness serious? Asked the two teachers when they saw the juvenile frowning. It's a little tricky. In a flash, the juvenile took the silver needle in his hand and inserted it into one of the acupoints on the girl's arm. I can treat her, but it will take some time. Chapter 106, Technique. Chapter 106, Technique. This girl's body is deficient and lacks a type of element. This made her body weak and made her suffer from breathing difficulties. She will still need some time to recuperate. The juvenile wiggled his fingers and another dozen silver needles appeared in his hand. He continued with a smile, I'll execute silver needle treatment on her to first wake her up. When the juvenile completed his sentence, he moved his hands so quickly that they formed after images which confused the onlooking crowd. Incredible! Absolutely incredible! You are indeed from the Sacred Followers Guild. The techniques of hidden needles and laying out needles are truly incredible. Yeah. I would have never thought that the University of Rivertown would have such an incredible expert. Looking at the medical skills of this young miracle doctor, you are more than qualified to become a tutor in our medical branch. The middle-aged school doctor and lead each exclaimed in disbelief. It's just a simple trick and isn't anything. The juvenile revealed a satisfied look but still replied in an arrogant manner. If this is a simple trick for this young miracle doctor, my medical skills will be nothing in comparison. Incredible. The middle-aged school doctor gave him a thumbs up. Hee hee. The juvenile smiled faintly as he controlled the silver needle in his hand. Soon, the girl opened her eyes gradually. This. What happened? The girl looked around, feeling a little lost. Awesome, awesome. You are indeed worthy of the name of Miracle Doctor. The two leads were thrilled and remarked excitedly. All right, for the coming week, rest well and have some beef and fruits. Together with my silver needles treatment, I can guarantee that you will recover within a week. As the young man waved his hand, all the silver needles were kept within his hand. So strong. Dr. Sun, who was on the side, also looked at the girl with amazement. Basic operations. The arrogant juvenile nodded his head and suddenly looked to Wang Xian. This student seemed to be thinking of providing treatment too a while ago. Did you learn medical skills previously? Wang Xian was taken aback, shook his head, smiled and replied, I know a little about healing. TSK. If you don't understand it well, it's better than you don't try providing treatment to others. Otherwise, you might make it worse if you misdiagnose the symptoms. The juvenile spoke in a tone similar to how a senior would guide a junior. This young miracle doctor is right. Misdiagnosing would only harm the patient. If you aren't confident, it's better if you don't act rashly. Not only does this young miracle doctor have extraordinary medical skills, but his medical ethics are also worth respecting, the middle-aged man said as he tried to lick the juvenile's boots. I'm just a little more gifted than others. The juvenile shook his head and continued, please send this student to the dormitory to rest. Give her something to eat in an hour or two, and she should be recovering well. For the following days, I'll perform a few additional rounds of treatments and she will recover fully. All right, thank you, young miracle doctor. Thank you, young miracle doctor. The two leads quickly replied. Why don't we excuse the young miracle doctor from training and let him be a doctor here? If any students are to encounter any issues, we would also be more assured with this young miracle doctor with us. Yeah, that will work too. The juvenile nodded his head and revealed a prideful smile. With me around, there wouldn't be any issues. Yeah. Definitely. With you around, we will feel more reassured too. The middle-aged school doctor quickly seconded. Hayes. You two students, if you guys are free, can you help us bring this girl back to her room? One of the leads said to Wang Xian and Wang Dehai. All right. Wang Dehai nodded his head and squatted down, ready to help the girl up. Let me do it. Wang Xian extended his hand over to stop Wang Dehai. He bent down and placed his hand on the stomach area of the girl. Ha! What are you doing? When the middle-aged school doctor saw Wang Xian placing his hand on the girl's stomach, he immediately frowned. I'm just taking a look. Wang Xian lifted his head and smiled. What are you looking for? You can't possibly be thinking that you could cure her, the middle-aged doctor said sarcastically. Hurry up. The young miracle doctor has already seen her. Stop causing trouble. Hee hee. Don't move recklessly if you don't know anything. Do you think you could tell her condition just by placing your hand on her? Childish. The young man looked at Wang Xian with contempt. Hee hee. Wang Xian laughed and had a cold expression. I was still wondering how incredible one from the Sacred Followers Guild is. It seems that you are just average. What the hell are you saying? Do you even understand what Sacred Followers Guild represents? When Wang Xian completed his sentence, the middle-aged school doctor standing by the side immediately shouted at Wang Xian mercilessly. What did you say? I dare you to repeat it. When that juvenile heard Wang Xian, his face sank too. Sacred Followers Guild isn't something you could humiliate. What the hell are you saying? Hurry and apologize to this young miracle doctor. The two leads also condemned Wang Xian solemnly. If everyone in Sacred Followers Guild is at your level. Hee hee. Wang Xian looked at the group of people shouting at him and his expression turned chilly. He looked to the girl and moved his finger, tapping on over 10 spots on the girl. Brat, are you humiliating me? The juvenile's eyes flickered as he stared at Wang Xian. He moved his fingers and needles appeared within his hands. Wang Xian ignored him and simply injected vitality of the wood element into the girl's body. With his current strength, he wouldn't have to exhaust dragon energy for treatment and could simply rely on the vitality of the wood element to cure the girl. The fatigued girl suddenly felt strength returning to her body. She opened her eyes and looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. Brat, I'm talking to you. Seeing that Wang Xian wasn't replying to him, he remarked, Get up. Wang Xian stood up gradually and gave the juvenile a harsh stare. He then extended his hand over to the girl. Thank you. The girl nodded her head and grabbed onto Wang Xian's hands. She was blushing and stood up with Wang Xian's assistance. The crowd was stunned, their attention was all on the girl. Dr. Sun, who had been by the side all along, was thrilled. She immediately asked, Are you feeling any discomfort? Nope. When brother tapped on my body, I felt very comfortable. Moreover, I'm feeling a lot better than before. The girl replied as she stole glances at Wang Xian with a blushing face. You just have a small issue and it could be solved with a little treatment. Have regular meals in the future and don't lag behind on your military training. Wang Xian instructed directly. The truth was that he didn't know the source of the girl's problem. However, it didn't matter. The dense vitality of the wood element had eradicated the issue at the source. Besides that, the girl's body composition was a little weak, and military training would be beneficial for her. Alright, brother, thank you. The girl nodded her head. Wang Xian nodded his head in response and turned to the juvenile beside him. He lifted his head and said with contempt, If members of the Sacred Followers Guild are like you, they aren't anything special. Trash. When the juvenile heard Wang Xian, he held on to the silver needles in his hand tightly and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. The middle-aged school doctor and the two leads were stunned. This time, they didn't comment anything when they heard Wang Xian. Wang Xian had simply tapped a few times on the girl and she was cured. As for this juvenile from the Sacred Followers Guild, he claimed that the girl required a week of treatment. One could easily tell the difference between them. Recalling how they had chided Wang Xian just a while ago, the group was feeling embarrassed currently. You are from the Medical Saint sect? What techniques did you just use? The juvenile stared intensely at Wang Xian and questioned him. Brat, I'm not from the medical saints sect. As for medical techniques, I only understood a little and am not as well known as your sacred followers guild. Hee hee. Wang Xian looked at the juvenile with mocking eyes. As for the technique, it's called anyhow pressure points technique. Hee hee. Brat, don't be so cocky when you don't have the capabilities. Otherwise, you are just bringing shame to the Sacred Followers Guild. Wang Xian imitated how the juvenile had acted previously and chided as though he was simply educating a junior as a senior. Chapter 107, You Can't Woo a Girl Like That. Anyhow pressure points technique. When the juvenile heard the technique he mentioned, he trembled and stared hard at Wang Xian. What the hell was that? Wang Xian looked at the self-conceited juvenile with a smile on his face. Acting tough in front of me? Using me as a stepping stone? Serves you right. As for what Wang Xian did just now, it was true that he was doing it without any thoughts. That was also done deliberately to maintain a low profile. Otherwise, the girl would be fully recovered with a swing of his arm. Fine, just you wait. The juvenile stared fiercely at Wang Xian. Wang Xian put away his smile and looked impassively at the juvenile. Slowly, he said, I'll be waiting. Humph. With a cold snort, the juvenile went back to his military training. The doctor and the two leads next to each other parted their mouths. With some hesitation, they dispersed into the crowd. Dr. Sun did not leave as she observed Wang Xian with curiosity. Just now, the juvenile from the Sacred Followers Guild had already displayed formidable medical skills. But this young man here was much more powerful than him. When Dr. Sun thought about it, she had some desires for the astounding medical skills. Hey, this is the second time that we meet, said Dr. Sun, looking at Wang Xian. Yes. Wang Xian smiled to Dr. Sunday. You are formidable in medical skill. Dr. Sun stared at him with passionate eyes as she wanted to know him better. Wang Xian smiled and said modestly, So. I'm not that skillful. I'm a little ashamed of myself if your standard is considered so. Dr. Sun gave a bitter smile, You're the most skillful doctor I have ever seen. Ha, it's nothing. Wang Xian chuckled with embarrassment since he was admired by a beautiful doctor who was older than him. Wang Dehai was dumbfounded as he observed the look of the beautiful doctor. He then shook his head slowly and found himself a seat. Wang Xian brushed Dr. Sun off with a few words before he sat down beside Wang Dehai. Wang Xian wanted to chat with the beautiful girl, but Dr. Sun posed some medical-related questions to him. Wang Xian felt awkward as he knew nothing about it. So, he briefly answered her. Dr. Sun bit her lip when she noticed that Wang Xian did not seem to welcome her. Hence, she blatantly asked for his phone number and left. Seeing Wang Xian walking towards him, Wang Dehai gave him a thumbs up. Bro, you're terrific. Wang Xian smiled, Your Su Qian has rested enough. Send her the drinks now. Huh, we can do it together. You deliver drinks to your sister while I will give mine to Su Qian. Wang Dehai pulled him immediately and headed to the ladies where a crowd had just dispersed. After fawning over the ladies, Wang Dehai went back to the dormitory with Wang Xian, feeling satisfied. Do you want to game? Asked Wang Dehai when they were back in the room. Nope. You go ahead. I'll just lie down for a while. Wang Xian shook his head. He lay on his bed, thinking about the Dragon Palace. To construct the Dragon Palace, he would require a substantial amount of materials. These materials would be worth at least hundreds of billions if they were to convert into monetary value. Some of these resources could be found in sinking ships or minerals from the ocean floor in the sea. But he would need to purchase some of the materials like fine iron and silver by himself. This would cost a bomb. Now, I need to think of a way to earn money. The first-grade restaurant is only earning about $1 million in a day. Compared to what I need, it is way too little. Wang Xian knit his brows slightly. Finding ways to earn money was a problem for him. Medical skills? Should I open a medical hall? An idea came to him when Wang Xian thought of the girl who he treated just now. Opening a medical hall seemed viable. Given his current 5 elements divine dragon strength, treating ordinary illness was a piece of cake to him. Moreover, he could open a high-class medical hall where one consultation would cost about 2 to 3 million or even higher. Once the reputation of the medical hall is established, Wang Xian could take in 2 to 3 patients a day. In a month, he would be able to earn hundreds of millions, or even more. Wang Xian drew a smile at the corner of his lips. He immediately took out his phone and made a few calls. First of all, he called Old Qin, asking for his help to get a certification to practice medicine. Opening a medical hall required certification. Otherwise, the medical hall would be operating without an official license. At the same time, he got Old Shui and Old Qin to promote and refer some clients to him. Finally, he called manager Huang Tu. He recalled that a shop was put on lease right beside the first-grade restaurant. He could buy that place over and turn it into his medical hall. It would also be convenient for him to pop by the first-grade restaurant to have his lunches and dinners. After making 3 calls, Wang Xian's plan to open the Divine Dragon Medical Hall had finally begun. It's 11:30 am now. I'll ask Guan Shuqing out for lunch. Guys should take the initiative. Wang Xian climbed out from his bed. Dahai, I'm having lunch with someone. You can have lunch by yourself. What a beast. Who are you going out with? Asked Wang Dahai, who was playing his game. Wang Xian waved his hand and ignored him. He took out his phone and sent a message to Guan Shuqing. Today, Guan Shuqing had 4 lessons in the morning. So, Wang Xian headed straight to her classroom. The University of Rivertown was a huge school. It took Wang Xian 5 minutes to walk from the male dormitory to Guan Shuqing's classroom. Wang Xian looked at the building with classrooms. He then walked over and waited for Guan Shuqing downstairs. Vroom. When he just arrived, the sound of a sports car was heard from behind. Wang Xian looked back with curiosity. He spotted a young man coming out from an Audi R8 sports car that was parked beside him. The young man was wearing formal attire, looking charming. He opened his boot and took out a bouquet of red roses. With a face wearing smiles, he stood beside the car and waited. Wang Xian looked at the young man and smiled. The young man also noticed Wang Xian, who was next to him. He drew his lips and glanced at the expensive watch on his wrist. 10 more minutes until class dismissal. Hey, are you waiting for your girlfriend? The young man asked Wang Xian, as he was bored. Well, she's not my girlfriend yet. Wang Xian said with a smile. Oh? Are you wooing that girl? The young man looked at him and asked with a smile. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. Are you going to lunch with her? Asked the young man smilingly. Yes, we're going to the canteen for lunch. Wang Xian nodded. Canteen? The young man was slightly stunned as he curved his lips slightly. Bro, since you're wooing the girl, you should treat her to something good. In this way, the girl will feel your effort. The canteen. The young man shook his head as he talked. You need to be sincere in wooing the girl. If you want to impress her, learn from me. You're still far from it. As he said this, he patted Wang Xian on the shoulder. He was earnest in his words, girls are vain. She will be touched by my formal confession. It's not going to work if you do it like you did now. This is your shortcoming. Chapter 108, Shocking Rumors in School. Hee hee. Wang Xian looked at the young man and shook his head. He found it a little hilarious and commented, love in school is simpler. Simpler? Brother, I wouldn't call that simpler. It's brainless. Tell me, if we confessed at the same time to the same girl, who do you think the girl would accept? The young man replied in contempt, you are still a far cry from me. However, there's nothing you could do about it as you were born with it. Your looks are still alright and you are still better than ordinary students. He added this with a faint sense of superiority. He took out his phone to play and no longer paid attention to Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at the young man and wasn't fond of him. However, he did not take his words to heart and simply waited there. 11:50 am, the bell that signaled the end of the lesson rang. Students walked out of the classrooms one after another. Some students who had just walked out immediately saw the Audi R8 sports car by the classroom block. Wow, a sports car! It's an Audi R8. What a stunning sports car! It would be great if I could get a sports car in my lifetime. That guy has a bouquet of flowers in his hand. It seems like he's here to make a confession. Isn't he the third-year senior, Lu Feng? I've heard that his family is filthy rich and that he always drives his sports car to school. I wonder who he is confessing to today. That girl would be so lucky. If only I was her. Some students looked at the young man beside the sports car and started commenting. Many students looked towards him with eyes of envy. A rich family, drives a sports car, and good-looking. A guy like him is the envy of all men and the dream guy for all girls. Hearing the comments from the surrounding students, Lu Feng revealed a satisfied smile. He took a glance at Wang Xian, lifted his head proudly and kept one of his hands in his pocket. More and more students walked out of their classrooms. Some students had no intention to leave the area, as they would like to see who that lucky girl would be. She's here. At this moment, Lu Feng took out his hand from his pocket and had his eyes locked in front of him. His eyes sparkled with joy. Guan Shuqing's lesson had ended and she was carrying a bag. She tiptoed as she looked around her. When she saw Wang Xian, she walked over excitedly. Wang Xian also spotted Guan Shuqing as he extended his hand and waved at her. Shuqing. Just as Wang Xian was about to walk over, he suddenly saw the young man walk directly towards Guan Shuqing. Guan Shuqing was clearly taken aback as she looked at the young man in shock. Shuqing, from the very first time I saw you, I've fallen in love with you. Today, I've finally mustered the courage to confess to you. Lu Feng suddenly went down on one knee. He handed the fresh flowers towards Guan Shuqing and spoke with sincerity. Wow, who would have expected that the one he is confessing to would be Guan Shuqing? Oh, Guan Shuqing. She's one of the 5 goddesses of our University of Rivertown. She has a great disposition, a good figure and a great character. Lu Feng isn't bad either, and is pretty handsome. I believe Guan Shuqing might accept him. Lu Feng is so rich and even drives a sports car. I guess Guan Shuqing will most likely accept him. Oh my goodness! Could it be that a beautiful girl like her is going to be attached? There were over 100 students that had gathered. Some of them even took out their mobile phones to take pictures and videos. Shuqing, would you be my girlfriend? In front of over 100 students, I promise that I will treat you well forever. I'll love you and protect you. Lu Feng said loudly, I'll get you whatever you want. If you want a sports car, I'll give one to you. If you want a bag, I'll get you the best out there. Extravagant. And a confession fully associated with materialism. A sports car that costs over $2 million by the side, a handsome Lu Feng and a sincere confession. Many girls around them were looking on in anticipation. If only they were the female protagonist, how great would it be? What a shame. A matching couple. Say yes. At this moment, a girl shouted loudly. Say yes, say yes. Following this, 7 to 8 other students joined in with the chanting. Guan Shuqing, who was in the midst of this, looked at Lu Feng in shock. She had not expected him to confess to her all of a sudden. Moreover, he did it under Wang Xian's attention. This made Guan Shuqing frown, and she replied directly, I don't like you. Please don't disturb me. After completing her sentence, she walked directly towards Wang Xian. I'm sorry, Xiao Xian. I don't know him well and had not expected him to confess to me all of a sudden. Please don't take it the wrong way. Guan Shuqing quickly explained to Wang Xian. It's all right. Let's go get lunch. Wang Xian smiled and didn't take it to heart. Considering that Guan Shuqing was so beautiful, having people confessing to her wouldn't be uncommon. What was different was that this young man did it in a more high-profile manner. And at this moment, Lu Feng, who was still on his knee, was completely shocked. His eyes opened wide in disbelief as he turned his head around. He saw that the girl he just confessed to was walking towards the school canteen with that teenager he saw previously. The surrounding students were also shocked by the development. What the? Guan Shuqing just went for lunch with another guy. Is that Guan Shuqing's boyfriend? Why didn't I hear about it previously? Lu Feng was rejected. He was actually rejected. He drives a sports car and had a bouquet of fresh flowers in his hand. Yet, Guan Shuqing didn't even take a further look at him and even went for lunch with another guy. Shocking news. It looks like Guan Shuqing likes that guy. What the? Why? Who's that guy? It must be really embarrassing for Lu Feng. It isn't embarrassing to be rejected by Guan Shuqing, but to see Guan Shuqing go to the canteen with another guy for lunch must be heartbreaking. The surrounding students were discussing fervently. No one had expected this to end in such a way. Listening to the comments of the crowd and seeing Guan Shuqing's back view, his face was red from embarrassment. Recalling what he'd said to the young man previously, a surge of heat flooded to his face. Damn! Lu Feng stood up angrily and threw the bouquet of flowers in his hand into the rubbish bin by the side. Under the mocking eyes of the surrounding students, he drove off. This time, he had really embarrassed himself badly. If this incident is posted to the school forum, it will definitely cause a huge hoo-ha, some students who were filming previously exclaimed. Haha, I've already uploaded it to the school forum. Things are going to get interesting. Wang Xian didn't know that he was about to get really famous. A simple love while in university and having lunch with Guan Shuqing alone at the school canteen made him feel really comfortable. The lunch lasted for half an hour and the couple walked around the school campus for another half an hour. What they didn't know was that within the school forum, the incident that had happened in the afternoon had been spreading like wildfire. Afternoon. Just as Wang Xian entered the dormitory room, 3 pairs of eyes that were filled with jealousy stared fervently at him. Old Wang, you are finally here. There's no wonder why they called you Old Wang. Wang Xian looked at them in shock and joked, what are you guys doing? Old Wang. No, it should be Brother Xian. Take a look at the school forum quickly. You are famous now. Chapter 109, The Fight Between Two Women. Lu Feng, the third-year student, drove a sports car. With flowers in his hand, he was rejected by Guan Shuqing for his confession. Guan Shuqing turned down Lu Feng's confession flatly and went lunch with another guy. Who is this guy? Guan Shuqing actually rejected Lu Feng, who drove a sports car and went to the canteen for lunch with him. Bro Lu Feng, are you heartbroken? Did you throw your face? As his roommates looked at him with bewilderment, Wang Xian opened his computer and read the messages one by one. The entire school forum was flooded with dozens of threads regarding Lu Feng's confession for Guan Shuqing. Wang Xian clicked on a thread randomly. Our third-year senior, Lu Feng, was in his formal attire, driving his Audi R8 sports car that was worth more than $2 million in the school. He held a beautiful bouquet of flowers and confessed to the goddess Guan Shuqing. Just when all the students thought he was going to succeed, Guan Shuqing rejected him without hesitation. She then walked off to the canteen and had lunch with a guy who was waiting for her with empty hands. All of you did not witness the mixed expression on Senior Lu Feng's face back then. A loaded person like him actually lost to a nobody. Heart-shattering. This is too heart-shattering. In addition to the text, some pictures were uploaded too. With one knee down, a guy was holding flowers with a luxurious car beside him. In the end, the girl who received the confession left with another guy. The photos were clearly taken. Guan Shuqing, Lu Feng and another guy were clearly captured in the photos. I look handsome, but Wang Xian looked at himself in the photos and gave a bitter smile. Old Wang, you're going to be famous. Damn! You are courting goddess Guan Shuqing quietly. You need to give us a treat. A treat? Zhang Wen was yelling from the bottom bunk. I don't want to be famous. Wang Xian shook his head. As he continued scrolling down, he was surprised to find a video clip. The entire incident that had happened in the afternoon was recorded in the video. This made him speechless. At the same time, Lan Qingyue was sitting in front of the computer on her desk as she browsed the school forum in the female dormitory. Her face paled, and she bit her lip tightly when she saw Wang Xian and Guan Shuqing walking side by side to the canteen. Eventually, her face revealed a determined expression. Wang Xian had gone famous. Other classes might not know him, but his own classmates would definitely recognize him. As such, all his classmates were staring at him when he arrived at his class in the afternoon. The guys were half envious, half jealous of him. Some even gave him a thumbs up. Awesome! Wang Xian chuckled. In the afternoon, he had 2 lessons. With a divine dragon's body, Wang Xian's memory had attained a daunting level. Learning was far too easy for him. Just when he was in class, his phone rang suddenly. He checked his phone and realized it was a WeChat message from Lan Qingyue. Can we have dinner tonight? A shy emoticon was attached behind the text. Wang Xian got used to how Lan Qingyue chatted in a girly manner. He pondered and replied, sure. Great, do you have class in the afternoon? Yes, I'm in the midst of it, but it is going to be over soon. Okay, I'll look for you then. Okay. After he chatted with Lan Qingyue for a while, Wang Xian looked at the time. It was almost 5 p.m. Time for dinner. At this time, Lan Qingyue was dressed elegantly in a blue dress. She had a slim figure and a refined profile. She bunned her hair up, which gave her a youthful and noble vibe. While waiting for the class dismissal, Lan Qingyue stood quietly in front of the building with a bottle of water in her hand. 5 p.m. The school bell rang. Old Wang, let's have dinner together. I'm starving. Wang Dahai shouted loudly as soon as the class was over. Let's go together. Zhang Wen said in agreement. Hey, Wang Xian might not be going with you guys. With the company of a beautiful girl, who still would want to stick around with you guys? Damn, old Wang. Are you that kind of person who forsakes friends for love? 3 of them, Wang Dahai, Zhang Wen, and Zhang Feng, raised their voices as they stared at him. Wang Xian looked at them speechlessly. He said, not tonight. I'll treat you guys to dinner tomorrow. Gosh, Zhang Feng is right. Old Wang, I never expected you to be such a person. Geez, if I had such a pretty girlfriend like Guan Shuqing, I would want to stick with her all day long. Let's go and ignore this ungrateful fellow. The 3 of us will have dinner on our own. They walked out as they talked. Wang Xian shook his head without any words. He followed behind them and sent a message to Lan Qingyue, where are you? However, he spotted a blue figure in front of the building when he walked out of his class. Wow, Lan Qingyue. It's Lan Qingyue. Lan Qingyue is extremely gorgeous. Her beauty is beyond comparison. We could only appreciate her from afar. Lan Qingyue is a well-known goddess in our school. She's even more famous than Guan Shuqing. I heard her family owns billions of assets. She's way too awesome. If I could marry a goddess like her, I'd be willing to shorten my life by 20 years. The rest of the guys, including Zhang Wen, Zhang Feng, and Wang Dahai, were commenting on her as they looked at the blue figure fervently. Guan Shuqing was a goddess, and she was known as one of the 5 goddesses in school. Same for Lan Qingyue. But Lan Qingyue enjoyed a higher reputation than Guan Shuqing in the University of Rivertown. Firstly, she was the vice-chairman of the student council. Secondly, she was a billionaire princess. elegant, aloof, and she made people feel ashamed of themselves. Guan Shuqing received many confessions, but not Lan Qingyue, as not many guys had the confidence to do it. Even the children of the wealthy families did not dare to fool around in front of her. Elegant, aloof. This was Lan Qingyue. Hey, Lan Qingyue rarely makes an appearance in school. I wonder who she is waiting for. Wang Dehai said curiously. Perhaps it has something to do with the student council. Zhang Feng made a guess. The rest of the surrounding students were staring at Lan Qingyue with interest. Wang Xian chuckled when he overheard their conversations as he walked towards Lan Qingyue. Hey, old Wang. Where are you meeting Guan Shuqing? Asked Wang Dehai curiously as he spotted Wang Xian walking out. I'm not having dinner with Guan Shuqing. Wang Xian spun around and smiled at him. Without any words, he came to Lan Qingyue. Sorry to keep you waiting. Wang Xian looked at her and said with a smile. I just got here too. Let's go to the canteen. There's a new delicious hot plate rice. Lan Qingyue smiled as she handed the beverage to Wang Xian. This is for you. Wang Xian was a little stupefied when he looked at the pretty and gentle Lan Qingyue. Thanks. Let's go. It's been a long time since I last ate in the canteen. Lan Qingyue was tagged closely to Wang Xian as they made their way to the canteen. Wang Dehai, Zhang Wen, Zhang Feng, and the rest of the classmates were behind them. They watched them walking off with their eyes wide open. All their faces wore unbelievable looks on them. Chapter 110, known throughout University of Rivertown, 1. Shocking news. After one of the 5 goddesses, Guan Shuqing, was seen having lunch with a guy and had seemingly fallen in love, our goddess Lan Qingyue was also seen having dinner with a guy. Moreover, the guy they ate with is the same person. Their actions were intimate and looked just like a couple. The male protagonist is none other than the immoral Year 2 Wang Xian. What does the immoral Wang Xian truly possess to allow him to eat with 2 of our goddesses in the same day? What kind of scumbag is the immoral Wang Xian? Please follow our thread as we bring you into Wang Xian's life. Oh my goddesses! Please take a good look at him. He is an immoral beast to go out with 2 of you in the same day. That's a disgraceful breach of norms. The immoral Year 2 Wang Xian. A godlike existence. Deserving of our worship. The school forum was a lot more raucous today than normal. However, the comments on the forum also made countless people dumbfounded. The first was Guan Shuqing rejecting a guy's confession and going to the canteen with another guy for lunch. And the second was their goddess, Lan Qingyue, meeting up with the same guy for dinner. This was a tragic development as it dealt consecutive blows to the fragile minds of many male students. However, what made countless male students enraged was that the one who accompanied goddess Guan Shuqing for lunch and goddess Lan Qingyue for dinner was the same person. The same Year 2 guy. If there were 2 different guys, the other male students might just drown their sorrows with alcohol in memory of their crushes. However, if there was only one guy, that's a different story. What they wanted to do the most currently was to turn that scumbag, the immoral Wang Xian, into memories. That's right, he's an immoral beast. It would have been fine if he had just gone out with one of their goddesses. However, he went for both goddesses at the same time. Having lunch with Guan Shuqing and dinner with Lan Qingyue in the same day. This asshole. They couldn't even get one and now a guy had gotten both of them? Who could tolerate this? No one could. They had to expose this immoral beast and let their 2 goddesses see the true character of this man. And to also let the huge female cohort in the University of Rivertown know the existence of this immoral beast, Wang Xian. If the incident in the afternoon made Wang Xian famous, what happened at night made his name known throughout the entire University of Rivertown. When Wang Xian returned to his dormitory room, he immediately sensed 3 pairs of intense eyes looking towards him. "Io! Our immoral beast, old Wang, is back." A voice filled with jealousy and envy sounded from Wang Dehai. "Ha, Wang Xian paused and looked at Wang Dehai, feeling puzzled. Damn! And you are still looking at me with those innocent eyes. Old Wang, I believe it will be better for you if you lock the door to the room. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be people charging in to beat you up. Looking at how Wang Xian had reacted, Wang Dehai gritted his teeth in anger. Having lunch with Guan Shuqing in the afternoon. Having dinner with Lan Qingyue at night. Immoral. Immoral beast. Haze. Comparing would only make one feel inferior. Old Wang, if you weren't our roommate, we would definitely beat you up severely. Zhang Wen exhaled slowly and looked as though he wanted to eradicate the scourge for the greater population. What exactly happened? Wang Xian looked at them and still had no idea what was happening. Take a look at the forum yourself. When the three of them saw his innocent expression, they gritted their teeth and remarked in unison. Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders, walked to his study desk immediately and loaded the school forum webpage. What the hell? When he saw the entire forum being overwhelmed by the same message, he couldn't help but blurt vulgarities. It was especially so when he saw the word in front of his name. He was on the verge of spitting blood. Immoral beast, Wang Xian. Asshole. When he clicked into each thread, all the comments were condemning him. They were condemning him for being a two-timer and for overreaching for someone way beyond his league. Some threads even published his personal particulars. However, they were quickly removed by the moderator. Wang Xian saw the liveliest thread had over 8,000 comments. What the hell? There are only a total of 10,000 plus students in the University of Rivertown. This. I'm not a two-timer, Wang Xian shook his head bitterly and mumbled. You are not. Explain yourself then. Why did you eat lunch with Guan Shuqing in the afternoon? Why did you eat dinner with Lan Qingyue at night? At this moment, three grudgeful voices sounded. Wang Xian turned his head around and saw three guys staring at him with resentment. Even though Zhang Wen and Zhang Feng already had girlfriends, this fact did not stop them from condemning Wang Xian. After all, the two goddesses of the University of Rivertown had rumors with the same guy, and this infuriated many others. After listening to them, Wang Xian twiddled his fingers. He was feeling complicated. In his heart and undoubtedly, he had seen Guan Shuqing as his girlfriend. As for Lan Qingyue, although it wasn't at the level of a girlfriend, Wang Xian naturally wished to be together with this girl from the bottom of his heart. He could also sense Lan Qingyue's admiration of him. But with today's laws and societal norms, this was clearly difficult. It was especially so as the two girls would most likely find this hard to accept. Even if the two girls could agree, their parents would not. It was especially so for Lan Qingyue. Her family was wealthy, and she would be the future successor. Why would her parents allow her to suffer such grievances? Can you give me a cigarette? Wang Xian felt irritated all of a sudden. Although he didn't know how to smoke, he still asked for one from Wang Dehai. Damn, still want a cigarette? You better tell us everything now. What are your relationships with the two goddesses? Wang Dehai looked at him, feeling speechless, but he still gave him a cigarette. He even lit it for Wang Xian. Wang Xian took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. The smoke lingered around him. Wang Dehai and the group found this to be very pretentious. If you let me choose. Wang Xian took another puff. In his mind, two figures appeared. Nonetheless, he would have a clear answer if he had to make a choice at this moment. Guan Shuqing. Wang Xian answered. You are choosing. You. The trio didn't really care about his final decision. What they cared about was Wang Xian's reaction. Choose. You are actually thinking of choosing? Both goddesses were the dream girls of any man, and they would work their hardest just to be with either one of them. Bzz. At this moment, his phone rang. It was the notification sound of WeChat. Wang Xian looked across and saw three pairs of burning eyes staring at his phone. Coincidentally, another message was sent over. These messages were from two people, Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue. Wang Xian could feel 3 pairs of cold eyes staring at him. He felt helpless and revealed a bitter look. Taking his phone with him, he jumped onto his bed. All right. I'm sleeping now, he yelled and unlocked his phone. Guan Shuqing's message was, "What are you doing now? Are you not going to the library tonight?" Lan Qingyue's message was, "I'm sorry Wang Xian. I might have caused you trouble." Looking at these 2 messages, Wang Xian felt conflicting emotions. Guan Shuqing couldn't possibly not know about the school forum. However, she didn't question Wang Xian. She ignored those comments and didn't condemn Wang Xian at all. This was trust and unconditional belief in Wang Xian. Lan Qingyue was apologizing to him for what had occurred at night and wasn't concerned about how this would affect her reputation. This was sacrifice. With 2 girls sacrificing so much for him, what else could he possibly ask for? Chapter 111, known throughout University of Rivertown, 2. Wang Xian did not sleep a wink last night. His thoughts kept him awake until 3 a.m., and he continued with his cultivation until 7 a.m. When the 4 of them, including Wang Xian and Wang Dehai, arrived at the canteen in the morning, Wang Xian could see people pointing fingers at him. He could even sense the gazes from people who could not wait to kill him off. "We are sworn enemies now that you've taken our goddesses away." The trio distanced him instinctively. In their words, they said, "Old Wang, you are notorious in the university now. We have to distance ourselves from you. Otherwise, it will be hard for us to find girlfriends." Wang Xian was speechless when the 4 of them came to the canteen to have a high-profile breakfast. Wang Xian was feeling helpless. He should not have taken lunch and dinner with the girls. When he was back in class, Wang Xian felt all eyes on him again. The envy, hatred, and jealousy coming from his male classmates annoyed him. He had 2 classes today. After his class, he went out of school instead of going to the field with Wang Dehai. "You are Wang Xian." All of a sudden, a few guys were in his way, glaring at him when he had just left the classroom building. Wang Xian froze for a while. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the people in front of him. Eventually, his eyes fixed on the student who was at the center of the group. The guy was about 185 meters tall, good-looking, and looked charming. Wang Xian knew his name. Su Qingcheng, a Year 3 student. He was the president of Taekwondo Club with a 4th Dan black belt. He had also won the championship of the Rivertown Taekwondo District competition. If it were not for age limit, his black belt Dan would be higher. In the University of Rivertown, not only the 5 goddesses were the famous ones. They had 3 rather well-known guys that were commonly known as the campus hunks or the Prince Charmings. There were several good-looking guys in the school, but only 3 of them were the official recognized Prince Charmings. Su Qingcheng was one of them. Being the president of the Taekwondo Club, he enjoyed high popularity in the school. The other 2 were a famous internet celebrity and a mystery student who was known as Mr. Feng among the students. "Can I help you?" asked Wang Xian as he looked at Su Qingcheng emotionlessly. "Nothing. I just want to check out what kind of guy you are, who can date 2 goddesses in a day." As Su Qingcheng spoke, he circled Wang Xian and observed him from head to toe. Upon seeing his brazen behavior, Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. "I don't like guys." He continued his way out after he spoke. Su Qingcheng hesitated after hearing him. "You're humorous, pal." As he spoke, he stopped in front of Wang Xian and blocked his way. "Get out of my way." Wang Xian was already feeling irritated. When he saw Su Qingcheng's provocative behavior, he could not help but bawl at him impatiently. "Her." When Su Qingcheng heard that, his face sank as he stared at Wang Xian with cold eyes. "Lad, you're bold. How dare you speak to me like this? Brother Cheng, he's so arrogant. TSK. I wonder how he managed to take the 2 goddesses out," a guy walked over and said as he glared at Wang Xian. If you have something to say, spit it out. If you don't, then get out of my way. I don't have time for you. Wang Xian said impatiently. Seeing the four playful and impudent guys around him, he would have given them a slap if they were not in school. How arrogant! When Su Qingqing heard what Wang Xian said, he clenched his fist slightly. Of course, I have something for you. I just wanted to check out what ability you possess, such that you can date the two goddesses, in particular, Lan Qingyue. I need to see if you're worthy of them. Show me your capability or your background. While Su Qingqing was talking, he stretched his body. He looked at him with a cold smirk at his lips. Otherwise, I'm going to embarrass you. Currently, many people were pissed off with Wang Xian. But the majority of them only expressed it on the forum. Even though some mentioned that they wanted to fight with Wang Xian, none of them really did. However, others might be afraid of doing so, but not Su Qingqing. He was one of the few guys who had wooed Lan Qingyue before. But he failed in the end, which made him a sour grape. Yesterday, Su Qingqing was surprised to hear about Lan Qingyue having dinner with a guy. He wanted to see how the guy looked. He wanted to see how this guy got into the book of Lan Qingyue. What? Are you picking a fight? Wang Xian stared coldly at them. No, as a student, how can we pick a fight? This is called sparring. Come to our taekwondo club for sparring. A smile surfaced on Su Qingqing's face again as he spoke with a casual expression. I have no time. Wang Xian had a disdainful look in his eyes. You? You want to spar with me with your taekwondo? Haha. Wang Xian ignored him totally and walked forward again. Su Qingqing did not give way to him. Neither did Wang Xian stop. So, he went on to knock into him. Her. When Su Qingqing saw him coming, his eyes were filled with sarcasm. He moved away and stepped out of Wang Xian's way, gazing in the direction he left. Brother Cheng, this fellow is too cocky. Why don't we teach him a lesson? The three guys next to him pointed at Wang Xian and spoke as he left. Su Qingqing stared at the guy who spoke with an unpleasant look. Sorry, Brother Cheng. I forgot about it. When that guy saw Su Qingqing's displeased eyes, he quickly apologized. Su Qingqing had been a troublemaker in the school since year 1. In the beginning, the school was lenient to him since he was the champion of the Rivertown's Taekwondo district competition. Subsequently, he made frequent troubles, affecting the school's reputation. Hence, the school gave him a warning. If he continued to create trouble, he would be expelled from the school. This finally stopped him. However, it did not mean that he could not spar with others. He is arrogant. But he must be capable of being arrogant. If that's the case, I'll make sure you lose your face utterly. Su Qingqing looked at Wang Xian and let out a faint smile. Go to the school forum and issue a challenge on it. Then. Su Qingqing smiled. If he could teach Wang Xian a lesson at this time, he would gain higher popularity. At the same time, he could show Lan Qingyue that the guy she favored was totally useless. He wanted to prove that he was the best. Sure, Brother Cheng. Leave this to us. This time, we'll show him the power of our taekwondo in the University of Rivertown. Okay. Su Qingqing nodded with confidence and walked away. Wang Xian was not even thinking about Su Qingqing as he walked to the first-grade restaurant. He needed to speed up the preparation of the medical hall and quickly get the business running. The speed of constructing the Dragon Palace would depend on the business of the medical center. However, Wang Xian did not know that the school forum was set ablaze again with the topic of him. This time, it was the challenge from Su Qingqing. Chapter 112, known throughout University of Rivertown, 3. Director Wang, I have negotiated the terms with the boss of the shop next door. As the floor area isn't that big, the sale price would be $7 million. If you want to rent it, it will be $50,000 a month. In the office of first-grade restaurant, manager Huang reported to Wang Xian. Try to negotiate the price down a little and buy it directly. After which, find a good interior designer for me. Inform me again when everything's done, Wang Xian said to manager Huang. Alright, Director Wang. Leave this to me. Manager Huang nodded his head. Wang Xian nodded his head. Looking at the earnings over the last few days, the earnings had remained at the level of approximately $1.5 million. Now that first-grade restaurant had basically reached its maximum capacity, it would be hard to improve on these earnings. This was because the restaurant size was fixed and the number of customers they could get each day was limited. After having lunch in the shop, Wang Xian headed back to the school. Ah, that's Wang Xian. Look. It's him. Yeah, it's him. He's pretty good-looking. However, it's unreal that he could make two goddesses fall in love with him. Perhaps Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue weren't really interested in him and were simply having a meal with him. Did you see it? Su Qingqing said that he wants to challenge him on the school forum. He's interested to see why he is qualified to have dinner with Lan Qingyue. Really? Su Qingqing is a black belt taekwondo expert. No one is a match for him in the entire University of Rivertown. In fact, not many people in the entire Rivertown could possibly defeat him. Challenging Wang Xian would be like toying with him. I believe Wang Xian wouldn't be that dumb to accept the challenge and spar with Su Qingqing. Su Qingqing has only said he would like to have a simple sparring with him. Sparring could be in other aspects. However, if Wang Xian did not accept, he would be a coward and be the butt of the joke in the University of Rivertown. He has to accept it. Walking on the pathway through the campus, Wang Xian could vaguely hear the discussions of the surrounding students. He frowned slightly as he walked towards his dormitory. Old Wang, you are back. Just as he stepped into the room, Wang Dahai immediately turned over and greeted him. There was only him in the room. Zhang Wen and Zhang Feng must be accompanying their girlfriends currently. As for Wang Dahai, it was a rare occasion that he wasn't playing games. Instead, he was staring at the computer. Ha! Did something happen again? Wang Xian asked directly. While he was walking back, he had heard a little about it. Old Wang, don't be angry when you see this. Su Qingqing is being too arrogant just because he has some strength. I despise this type of person the most. Wang Dahai rambled on. Wang Xian walked to his study desk and switched on his computer. Wang Dahai immediately brought his chair over and sat beside Wang Xian. Old Wang, I feel that you shouldn't have to entertain this guy. One of the three Prince Charmings. Ah shucks. He's still not as incredible as our old Wang. Wang Dahai was commenting from the side while Wang Xian clicked into the forum to take a look. One of the threads had over 9,000 replies. Once again, there was a thread that had a relatively large number of replies. Wang Xian clicked into the thread. It was created by Su Qingqing. The content of the thread was as follows. There's a man of the hour in our school recently. Yeah, he's the second-year student, Wang Xian, who ate with two goddesses in a day. I won't be going to the details as I believe everyone would have known about this. Currently, he is given the nickname, Immoral Beast, Wang Xian. Hee, that's an elegant nickname. Today, I would like to invite the Immoral Beast, Wang Xian. Oops, a slip of the tongue. Huh. I'd like to invite him to spar. I would like to see what you are capable of. Sparring is not limited to just violence. It could also be in many other aspects. Show me what you are capable of. I'm really curious. If you aren't a coward, look for me, Su Qingqing, at the Taekwondo gym. It wasn't a very long thread but fully showed how Su Qingqing had taunted Wang Xian. It was full of mockery. In the comments section, there were also a lot of people supporting the idea. Wang Xian eating with their two goddesses had ignited the anger of the majority of the male student population. It was especially clear from the pictures taken that Wang Xian was acting very intimate with Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue. This further infuriated many. It's fine if you just date one of them. However, you are a scumbag for being a two-timer. Unforgivable. Wang Xian looked through the thread but kept his composure. Su Qingcheng. Wang Xian sank into deep thought. In that case, I'll just make him the example. I'll probably save myself a lot of trouble too. Wang Xian thought to himself and stood up gradually. Ah, old Wang. Where are you going? Seeing that emotionless look, Wang Dahai quickly asked him. To the Taekwondo club, said Wang Xian. What? You are really thinking of going? Old Wang, forget it. Just forget it. That Su Qingcheng is really strong. We don't have to entertain him. They are just a bunch of jealous dudes. Wang Dahai spoke immediately. He was really worried that Wang Xian would go. Su Qingcheng had a black belt in Taekwondo after all. If Wang Xian went ahead and sparred with him, even if Wang Xian wasn't severely injured, he would likely be humiliated. Relax, I wouldn't go if I was not confident. Wang Xian shook his head slightly and smiled. Wang Dahai knew Wang Xian was a little stubborn. He shook his head and said, all right then. I'll go with you. Let's go. Wang Xian nodded his head and walked straight to the Taekwondo club. Taekwondo club was a relatively large club in the University of Rivertown. Taekwondo originated from Korea but was very popular within the country. This was because of the way of thinking of the past generations. Martial arts from the country wouldn't be imparted to external parties, let alone ancient martial arts. As for Taekwondo, Wang Xian had no comment on it. The clubs in Rivertown had their activities congregated in an area. When Wang Xian walked towards the Taekwondo club, he immediately attracted many people's attention. Ah, isn't that the Year 2 student, Wang Xian? Could it be that he is heading to the Taekwondo club? Looking at where he is heading, he must be going to the Taekwondo club. Su Qingcheng just issued him a challenge recently. Could it be that he's going there to accept it? This is interesting. Let's go. Let's follow and take a look. Wang Xian is accepting Su Qingcheng's invitation. This is going to be interesting. If he chooses to fight with Su Qingcheng, this will likely turn out to be tragic for him. Hurry. Let's go. We can post it on the forum later and it will definitely shock the entire school. The students along the way followed behind in excitement as they headed towards the Taekwondo club. Wang Xian didn't mind the growing crowd behind him and arrived at the entrance of the Taekwondo club. Creak. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. Walking to the door, he pushed the door open directly. The Taekwondo club had a huge room and there were many students still wearing Taekwondo uniforms while practicing. When the door was pushed open, some members looked out inquisitively. Wang Xian stood at the entrance and swept his eyes across before walking in slowly. Get Su Qingcheng over. Tell him that Wang Xian is here. Some members of the Taekwondo looked over with sarcasm. He's here. It's time to see how our captain will torture him. Chapter 113, known throughout University of Rivertown, 4. Sarcastic laughter was heard in the Taekwondo club. Most of the members had only mocking expressions when they saw the young man at the door. They looked relaxed as though they were watching a show. They did not regard Wang Xian highly even though he was here for the challenge. Sparring with their president was as good as getting bashed by their president. Hey, lad. Wait over here. I'll get our president here. A burly member gazed disdainfully at Wang Xian from head to toe. Hurry up, I'm busy. Wang Xian looked at that member before he walked impassively to a chair. Humph, how arrogant. I hope you can remain arrogant later. Seeing the impatient look on Wang Xian, that member snorted and went to the back of the club. People who had followed Wang Xian to the Taekwondo club were standing around with interest. In less than a minute, Su Qingcheng appeared with 5 members behind him. All of them fixed their eyes on Wang Xian, who was sitting in the chair. Su Qingcheng displayed a mocking expression on his face. He did not expect that Wang Xian would run over here. Some courage you've got. Not a coward, huh? Su Qingqing slowly walked towards Wang Xian. The way he gazed at Wang Xian was as though he was almighty. Wang Xian hated this kind of person. Self-flattering. I don't have time for you people. Su Qingqing, show me your best. I want to see if you're formidable like what others have said. Wang Xian stood up and stared at Su Qingqing. Brother Cheng, this fellow is too cocky. You don't even have to step out. I can take him on. Before Su Qingqing could say anything, the burly member spoke his mind. He stared at Wang Xian with a dismissive look as he stretched his well-built body. Wang Xian was 1.75 meters tall. He was not very tall, and he was quite skinny. As such, none of the longtime members of the Taekwondo club regarded him highly. How can you be such a bully? Su Qingqing gestured for him to shut up. He put on a smiling face and looked at Wang Xian. I've made myself clear on the forum. This is just sparring. There is no restriction to the type of martial arts used. Anything will do. Let me see the capability of this highly acclaimed character. I want to know how qualified he is to dine with Lan Qingyue and Guan Shuqing. Wang Xian laughed at his words as he threw a taunting look at Su Qingqing. Save me that look. You asked me here to show off yourself. Since you want to have some fun, I'll do it with you. Let's do some sparring. The smile on Su Qingqing froze on his face when he heard what Wang Xian said. He looked coldly at Wang Xian. Fine, since you're courting your own doom, I'll grant your wish. Heh heh. Wang Xian looked at the sparring arena in the center of the club. With a face full of smiles, he walked towards it. Enjoy the walk. You might be carried out of this place later. Su Qingqing's cold voice came from behind him. Old Wang, are you confident? Wang Dahai, next to him, asked him with concerns. Wang Xian gave him an assuring look. They're really sparring. Hurry, let's get a good seat. Before we comment on the fight, Wang Xian is indeed courageous to begin with. Courageous, my ass. Sparring with Su Qingqing is simply looking for his own trouble. I really want to see Su Qingqing. The surrounding students were exhilarated as the two of them headed to the arena. All of them quickly circled around the arena. Brother Cheng, you don't even have to dirty your hands. This is overkill. A few guys around Su Qingqing looked at Wang Xian and said disdainfully. It's okay. I'll not use both hands and give him some handicaps. If not, someone will think I'm a bully. Su Qingqing looked at the figure in front of him with a smiling face. An idea came to him. He looked at the few people beside him and continued, later, you'll go live on the forum so that all students in the University of Rivertown will know him. Live? Some of the members brightened their eyes and chuckled, sure, Brother Cheng. Leave this to us. Going live on the forum did not mean video streaming, but more like updates using images. One of the members took his phone out and snapped a few photos of Wang Xian. Subsequently, he found a few more angles to take charming photos for Su Qingqing. He opened the school forum and drew his lips slightly while starting a new thread. Title, Who Will Kneel? Su Qingqing, the Prince Charming vs. Wang Xian, the Beast with a handicap of 2 hands. He had a smirk when he looked at the headline and photos he posted. Edit, send. Wang Xian and Su Qingqing walked into the ring, which was surrounded by hundreds of students. Many students took out their phones, ready to record this PK match. The members of the Taekwondo club were spectating the match with ease. They were waiting for their president to abuse his target. You still turn up despite knowing you'll lose. Lad, you aren't really that lousy. Su Qingqing stood around casually in his white Taekwondo robe, criticizing Wang Xian. It was as if a teacher was reviewing a student. Why not this? I'll not use either of my hands. Su Qingqing went on. He placed his hands behind his back, protruding the black belt on his waist. This symbolized his strength. Wow, Senior Su Qingcheng is simply too cool. Such generosity by not using his hands. Prince Charming Su Qingcheng is too domineering. This is the stance that a powerhouse should adopt. Comparing him to Wang Xian is just an evil clown. The students outside of the ring were deeply impressed by Su Qingcheng. He was looking mighty with his hands behind his back. The member who was posting on the forum took a few snapshots excitedly. His caption was written as the look of a winner. Wow, that Wang Xian accepted the challenge from Senior Su Qingcheng. Ah, I'm in the dormitory now. I wonder if I can still make it to watch how Senior Su Qingcheng knocks out Wang Xian with a kick. Su Qingcheng already gave him the leeway by not using his hands. Wang Xian will be embarrassed if he can't even block 10 strokes from him. Thread owner, please update soon. We want to see the photos of how beast Wang Xian was beaten to a pulp. You must take more photos. There were more than hundreds of replies below the thread that was started not long ago. The excitement was all over that member's face. I'll let you start first. Just then, Su Qingcheng's voice was heard from the ring again. He tilted his head slightly and sneered at him. Do it. This is your only chance to strike. Huh. President, let's not talk about giving him a two-hands handicap. Even if you use just your leg, you can also send him flying with a kick. Confident and sarcastic voices came from a group of Taekwondo members outside the ring. Chapter 114, known throughout University of Rivertown, 5. Su Qingcheng, why are you kicking up a fuss? In the Taekwondo club, just as Wang Xian was about to cripple this arrogant guy with a slap, a loud roar pierced through the atmosphere. The surrounding crowd, who was ready for a show, turned around and looked in shock. All they saw was a middle-aged man in a Taekwondo suit rushing over. He had the same black belt over his waist and looked worried. Coach! Coach! The members of the club quickly greeted despite being surprised by the middle-aged man. The middle-aged coach wasn't bothered and walked up to the ring with a heavy expression. His gaze swept past Wang Xian and his heart palpitated rapidly. After which, he turned to his student and stared angrily at him. Coach, why are you here? Su Qingcheng was startled to see his coach. If I didn't come, would you expect me to accept your actions silently? Yan Hu was furious and gave Su Qingcheng a harsh stare. He took a deep breath and walked towards Wang Xian. I'm sorry, Wang Xian. My student couldn't tell what's good for him and has offended you. I'll teach him a lesson personally. The middle-aged coach spoke with great respect. He didn't know much about Wang Xian, but he knew that Wang Xian was a person that even Director Sun had to show great respect to from the incident on that night. Director Sun was a friend of a higher social status that he got into contact with by coincidence. On that night, Director Sun had also invited him. Therefore, he knew what had happened in the bar. After that incident, he heard some information from Director Sunday. This young man wasn't from a family with a strong background but was one with truly incredible strength. This strength was referring to human strength. As a 9th Dan Taekwondo expert who had reached the epitome of Taekwondo, his battle prowess was extraordinary. Even so, he also knew some things that ordinary people didn't. That was none other than ancient martial arts. Against ancient martial arts, the Taekwondo that he practiced was no more than playing house. At this moment, this student of his had offended such an expert. He must be truly eager to die. The other party could even kill you before anyone noticed it. Wang Xian looked at this middle-aged coach with doubts. Yan Hu saw his puzzled looks and immediately explained. Hi, student. You might not recognize me, but I was lucky to have met you at the bar that night. I'm a friend of Director Sunday. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked to Su Qingcheng. Su Qingcheng. Apologize now. Seeing that Wang Xian had turned to Su Qingcheng, Yan Hu quickly shouted. Coach. You. Su Qingcheng looked at his coach in disbelief. He couldn't understand why his teacher would be chiding him or why his coach would apologize to the other party. Moreover, he was even doing so with great respect. One should know that his coach was a 9th Dan black belt and had even clinched the title of the national taekwondo champion. It was also because of the teachings of his incredible coach that he managed to achieve what he had today. Apologize. To challenge young Master Wang with your strength, are you courting a beating? Even I am not a match for young Master Wang, do you think you would be? If I hadn't seen the thread in the school forum by coincidence, I wouldn't have known that you are so brazen. Yan Hu chided Su Qingqing angrily. What? Su Qingqing's eyes stared wide open and looked at his own coach in disbelief. What did I just hear? Coach said that he isn't a match for him. How can this be? My coach is a 9th Dan black belt. Are you turning a deaf ear to what I've said? Yan Hu looked at him and continued. Seeing his coach's expression, Su Qingqing looked around unwilling and said with a blushing face, I'm sorry. He didn't dare to defy his coach's words and his coach wouldn't lie to him. However, he still couldn't understand why his coach wouldn't be a match for Wang Xian. What just happened? What just happened? The surrounding crowd looked at the sudden twist in development in disbelief. They had all believed that Su Qingqing would give Wang Xian a painful lesson. However, before their fight even started, Coach Yan Hu suddenly rushed over. Coach Yan Hu was a pretty well-known figure in the University of Rivertown. He had taken on over 10 street ruffians by himself when they came to school to cause trouble. It was also because of that incident that Coach Yan Hu shot to stardom and made the Taekwondo club the hottest student club in the University of Rivertown. And now, Coach Yan actually apologized to Wang Xian and even claimed that he wasn't a match for Wang Xian. Everyone was astonished. It was especially so for the members of the Taekwondo club. They were puzzled over Coach Yan Hu's words. However, since they were from Coach Yan Hu, they had no reason to doubt the authenticity of them. In the crowd, those students, who had come over to watch a show, looked towards the Taekwondo club members. Some of them were shocked, but there were also some who looked at the members with mockery. Just a while ago, they had seen their disdainful looks on Wang Xian. And now, their coach ran out to apologize and even made Su Qingqing do the same. Twist. Major twist of events. Wang Xian hadn't even moved a finger and the outcome of this matter had been clear as crystal. The Taekwondo club members sensed the gazes from the surrounding crowd and their faces turned a little red from embarrassment. As for that student who was using his phone to update the situation on the thread, he stood there in complete shock. Seeing that there were still students constantly replying, his face sank. What should I do now? Continue to update? Am I supposed to say that the sparring did not happen because their coach arrived? That he even apologized to Wang Xian and stated that he wasn't a match for Wang Xian? That he is here to reprimand Su Qingqing for being brazen and courting death? And even made Su Qingqing apologize? If I send this out, Su Qingqing will be completely embarrassed. How could he even lift his head in front of Wang Xian in the future? However, even if I don't post, those students who were here to witness would also spread this out. Damn! At this moment, he suddenly saw someone had updated the situation on his behalf in the thread he had started. Picture after picture and word after word. Just as the two of them were about to fight, Coach Yan rushed over and apologized to Wang Xian personally. He even claimed to not be a match for the other party. Coach Yan made Su Qingqing apologize and Su Qingqing did so with a flushing red face. Those Taekwondo club members, who were mocking Wang Xian previously, just got a tight slap to their faces. If their coach isn't a match for Wang Xian, how are they qualified to mock him? The updates continued and many had pictures attached. That student blacked out. He couldn't hide it. This incident couldn't be hidden anymore. I'm sorry, Wang Xian, I'm sorry. At this moment, in the ring, Coach Yan brought Su Qingqing over, bowed and apologized. This action stunned the crowd once again. Wang Xian frowned upon seeing their actions. He didn't say another word and headed for the exit. Behind him, Wang Dahai followed behind excitedly. Even he had not expected things to have developed in such a manner. Wang Xian strolled towards the exit under the gaze of the crowd. When he reached the exit, he suddenly stopped. He lifted his head and saw a signboard 3 meters above the door. On the signboard were 2 words, Taekwondo Club. He smirked. Coach Yen had rushed over to apologize to him personally. He was a coach and was acting respectfully towards Wang Xian. This made it hard for Wang Xian to press on the matter. However, he wasn't pleased with Su Qingqing and the club members. When he walked in, they were all looking at him with despisement. Taekwondo Club. Wang Xian smirked. To the astonishment of the crowd, he jumped lightly and smashed violently at the signboard with a kick. Bam! Shattered. Chapter 115, known throughout University of Rivertown, 6. Nobody was expecting such an end. Su Qingqing bowed and apologized to Wang Xian, who was invited for sparring, even though they did not fight. Even Coach Yen, who said he was not a match for Wang Xian. He even made a respectful apology to him. How strong is Wang Xian? How domineering is he? Did you see how Wang Xian leaped 2 meters high when he left the Taekwondo club? He smashed the signboard with just a kick. That was an outright slap to their faces. Su Qingqing shamed himself much this time. He and the entire Taekwondo club's members mocked Wang Xian just now. Now, they couldn't even make a sound when Wang Xian smashed their signboard. What a shame. Su Qingqing will have to avoid Wang Xian at all costs in the future. Breaking opening with a dramatic ending. Naughty Su Qingqing challenged Wang Xian, but his father-like Coach Yen who slapped him awake and got him to apologize. How interesting. I wonder how formidable Wang Xian is such that even Coach Yen who admitted that he was not a match. Moreover, from the way Wang Xian smashed the signboard when he left, I could tell that he's superb. The school forum erupted into commotion again. Incidents involving Wang Xian had become more captivating in the last 2 days. The thread that was posted by the member of the Taekwondo club had more than 10,000 replies. Since this incident involved Wang Xian and Su Qingqing, the Prince Charming, it was expected to draw all the students' attention in the school. Power, old Wang. You're simply too domineering. Wang Dehai said to Wang Xian with a face full of admiration when they were on their way. Wang Xian had arrived at the Taekwondo club and confronted everyone with composure. Even when he smashed the signboard with a kick, he looked incredibly cool. No wonder both Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue goddesses fancy you. I'm also beginning to like you, old Wang. Get lost, I have no interest in you. Wang Xian peered at him. Continue to look for your sister, Su Qian. Hee, there's no need to since we've been keeping contact for the past 2 days. Now, you stirred such a commotion, I'm sure Su Qian will be curious and find out things from me. Wang Dehai spoke with some pride. He could sense love on its way. Wang Xian shook his head without any words. I will be busy for the next few days. Apply for leave from the counselor on my behalf. If you send beverages to Su Qian every day, remember to give one to my sister too. Leave? Old Wang, what are you busy with? Wang Dehai was slightly stunned as he asked doubtfully. I have something to attend to. It should take about 1 or 2 weeks, Wang Xian replied. He was going to use these few days to search the entire Bohai Sea for any resources that could be tapped, like a sinking ship. In addition, he also needed to proceed with the medical hull. Wang Xian did not mind if this delayed his studies now. The school was not important to him anymore. He would have dropped out of school if his sister did not report to school. So he had to keep her company for a while. All he wanted to pursue was the starry sky and the ocean. All right, old Wang. Don't worry about your sister. Leave her in my hands. Wang Dehai patted his chest. He understood that Wang Xian was now undergoing tremendous changes. As a buddy, he did not probe further as long as his buddy was doing well. Get lost. What do you mean by leaving her in your hands? I'm just going away for a few days. Wang Dehai patted hard on Wang Dehai's shoulder. Stop it, old Wang. Stop it. You're so formidable now. All my fault. My fault. Wang Dehai screamed immediately and briskly walked to the dormitory. Wang Xian chuckled and followed behind him. After 4 to 5 hours of propagation, almost all the students knew about the incident on the school forum. When Wang Xian walked along the path in school in the afternoon, many people continued to point and gossip about him. What made the difference was the curiosity and respect in the eyes of many. The sarcasm, disdain, and even jealousy in the looks was not as much as before. Wang Xian came to the office to apply for a week's leave from the counselor. Wang Xian managed to do so after answering all the curious questions from the counselor. He paused and took out his phone to send a message to Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue after he walked out of the office. He told both of them that he would be away for 2 days and he might be uncontactable. Guan Shuqing, Lan Qingyue. Wang Xian mumbled the 2 names and shook his head. If he had to choose either one of them now, he probably will pick Guan Shuqing. These past few days, Guan Shuqing had been using her free time to settle some of the accounts of the first-grade restaurant. She was a girl who had no complaints about her work, and she was poor in expressing herself. Wang Xian liked her because he felt comfortable with her. Guan Shuqing was listening attentively to the teacher in her class. When the phone buzzed, she froze slightly when she read Wang Xian's message. She knew what had happened during the past few days, just like she knew that Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue went out for dinner. Yet, she did not comment on anything, nor did she question him either. Guan Shuqing felt that her silent effort would eventually pay off. That was her character, and she believed Wang Xian liked her. Take care, and let me know once you're back, Guan Shuqing replied. Sure. Wang Xian felt a heartwarming feeling when he saw Guan Shuqing's reply. Buzz. At the same time, his phone buzzed again with the arrival of Lan Qingyue's message. Is there anything I can do to help? I've brought you enough troubles for the past 2 days. No, I'm just gonna be busy for the next 2 days. Just letting you know beforehand, as there might be no signal then. Lan Qingyue's reply was totally different from Guan Shuqing's. Back at the office building in the city center, Lan Qingyue was sitting in front of her computer in her formal attire. She was frowning when she looked at Wang Xian's message. She knew what had happened during these 2 days in school. Was it me who made him feel irritated, hence he? Lan Qingyue was thinking a little too much. She bit her lips. Blame it on those people who love to gossip in school. She took a deep breath and logged into the school forum. Since she was the vice-chairman of the student council, all the students knew her forum ID. Create post. 1. I hope everyone will stop discussing Xiao Xian and me. 2. Whatever that happened between Xiao Xian, Guan Shuqing and I is only between us. I hope no one will make any wild guesses or even slanderings. 3. Fair competition. After Lan Qingyue wrote 3 lines, she posted out immediately. She was in a daze when she looked at the thread that was posted out. She thought she should not have brought troubles to Wang Xian. At the same time, she would not give up. Even though she might get hurt in the end, all she wanted was a fair competition. Chapter 116, Water Monkey. Wang Xian rode his heavy-duty motorcycle from the school. What he didn't know was that his name had once again caused an uproar in the school forum. A thread from Lan Qingyue had made Wang Xian's name known throughout the University of Rivertown. As for Wang Xian, his name had truly spread to the entire University of Rivertown. Everyone would know about him and hear about him. He had captured the hearts of 2 goddesses and even made Lan Qingyue made the comment on fair competition. This made all the male students spit out a mouthful of blood. Why? Why isn't it me whom the goddess has fallen in love with? If I was the one, you wouldn't have to compete with anyone. Wang Xian's name was even known by the new batch of Year 1 students. Xiao Yu was naturally thrilled to see 2 goddess-level beauties pursue her brother and was trying to find out more about Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue. She would like to know which sister-in-law would be better. However, what she got was the same 2 words, perfect goddess. After riding his motorcycle to the seaside, Wang Xian walked towards the forefront of a fish farm. There was a vessel that was parking by the side. Dragon King. On the vessel, the four Dragonians immediately greeted with great respect the moment they saw Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and boarded the vessel. The vessel spanned approximately 40 meters. It wasn't huge and wasn't a luxury yacht. It was simply a shipping vessel used for transportation. The vessel moved quickly and soon they arrived at the deserted island in the middle of the seas. At this moment, there were over 1,000 people constructing on the island. When the construction was completed, Dragon Sect would enter the ranks of the ancient martial artist families and make its name known throughout the country. Wang Xian alighted at the island and observed the surroundings. Has the Dragon Sect platform been built? Wang Xian asked the Dragonian beside him. Yes, it's completed, Dragon King, the Dragonian immediately replied. Great. Wang Xian nodded his head. Dragon Sect platform was similar to the General's Conferment platform of ancient times. To put it simply, it would be similar to a jetty. However, this jetty wasn't for ships to park, but for the subordinates of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian arrived at the location of the Dragon Sect platform. The location was a deserted area of the island and spanned over a kilometer. It was built from concrete and extended towards the sea. At the middle of it was a platform with 3 words written in ancient style, Dragon Sect Platform. Wang Xian stood on it and looked to the sea. With just a thought, he spread his dragon power towards the surroundings. In less than 2 minutes, a giant clam appeared at the surface of the sea in front of the Dragon Sect platform. Dragon King. The clam opened and Roving Girl appeared on the sea surface. Around her, the waters were circulating. She has a figure similar to a human and greeted Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly and didn't say a word. In less than 5 minutes, a golden lobster-like organism surfaced from beneath the water in front of the Dragon Sect platform. It stood on the surface of the water and had a pair of giant golden claws that had the glow of metal. The golden metallic exterior shimmered under the sunlight. It bowed and greeted with great respect, Dragon King. It was none other than Roving Lobster of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian nodded his head and still didn't say a word. At this moment, the waters in front of the Dragon Sect platform started moving violently and caused huge waves. A ginormous object that spanned approximately 10 meters emerged from the seas. Dragon King. The giant animal lifted his dull yellow head and greeted Wang Xian. It was none other than Prime Minister Turtle of the Dragon Palace. The 3 marine animals floated on the surface of the seas. Any one of them, if discovered by a human, would have caused a huge uproar. Wang Xian stood on the Dragon Sect platform and looked down on his 3 subordinates. Prime Minister Turtle, Level 11. Art of Cultivation, Earth Dragon Transformation. Superpower, ability to control turtle race whose level is lower than own existing level, control Earth. Roving Lobster, Level 8. Art of Cultivation, Metal Dragon Transformation. Superpower, ability to control lobster race whose level is lower than own existing level, control metal. Roving Girl, Level 9. Art of Cultivation, Water Dragon Transformation. Superpower, ability to control clam race whose level is lower than own existing level, control water. Dragon King. The 3 marine animals exchanged gazes before greeting in unison. Currently, the 3 of you are the only members of our Dragon Palace. I will require more marine animals. Besides that, I've got to look for material to build the Dragon Palace. Today, I've summoned the 3 of you to follow me to search the entire Bohai Sea. Wang Xian stood on the Dragon Sect platform, which looked just like the General's Conferment platform of ancient times, and spoke to Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Girl and Roving Lobster. He was satisfied with their current strength. The group had practiced divine dragon transformation and their strength had increased very quickly. The strongest, Prime Minister Turtle, had already attained the level above the inborn state, a level above his former stage. Yes, Dragon King. Roving Girl, Roving Lobster and Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately. Wang Xian nodded his head. Although he had only 3 subordinates at this moment, he hoped that there would be a day where he stood on the Dragon Sect platform in front of tens of millions of Dragon Palace members. He also believed that the day would come sooner than later. Let's go. Wang Xian jumped into the skies and turned into a 5-colored divine dragon. Growl! A soft dragon roar propagated through the atmosphere. The 5 meters long Wang Xian dove into the seas directly. Swaying his body, he led the group. Roving Girl and Roving Lobster immediately swam to his left and right while Prime Minister Turtle stayed behind Wang Xian. Dragon King. At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle remarked. What's the matter? Wang Xian looked at Prime Minister Turtle with doubt. Dragon King, if you are looking to get more subordinates, I know of such a place. Prime Minister Turtle spoke slowly after thinking about the matter. Oh? Where would that be? What kind of marine animals are there? Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle inquisitively. A group of water monkeys. I remember encountering them at a location near the seas. They lived in a group, had pairs of sharp claws and were annoying. Prime Minister Turtle replied. Water monkeys? Wang Xian was taken aback and sank into thought. He had heard of water monkeys previously. They were similar to apes and were referred to as water spirits by the civilians. Water monkeys looked horrifying and had hair all over their bodies. They also had tremendous brute strength. Are the water monkeys Prime Minister Turtle has mentioned similar to those in folklore? Wang Xian thought to himself. He turned to Prime Minister Turtle and instructed, lead the way. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head. He sank to the seabed and executed his Earth control superpower. Under the propulsion of the Earth, the speed of Prime Minister Turtle was unbelievably fast. Roving Girl and Roving Lobster couldn't keep up with him at all. Prime Minister Turtle is still the more competent member. Not only has it lived for several thousands of years, but it also has a better understanding of the surroundings. Moreover, it is also stronger. Wang Xian was very satisfied with Prime Minister Turtle. Perhaps Prime Minister Turtle could truly be competent enough to take on the responsibilities as the Chamberlain of the Dragon Palace. Bohai Sea. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Turtle, they swam approximately 100 kilometers. Along the way, they met a few schools of small fish but Wang Xian ignored them. Dragon King, they are right ahead. Prime Minister Turtle looked ahead and said. Wang Xian turned his attention forward. This piece of sea region had complicated landforms. The underwater mountains were closely packed. Their peaks were also just a few meters from the surface of the water. The entire region looked gloomy as though even sunlight couldn't shine through. Wang Xian jerked his head and looked to his right. In that direction, there was an emaciated organism of approximately 1.5 meters which had red eyes. It stood at the peak of one of the mountains and was staring at them.